On ESPN, it is presented by Taco Bell. We've got the final game of a three-game series between the visiting New York Yankees, and man, are they struggling to score runs right now. They've had a tough time in recent games, and it does not figure to be easy for them tonight, because on the mound for the Red Sox is David Price, looking to complete the sweep for Boston. On Friday night, it was actually the Yankees who got off to an early lead. Alex Rodriguez hit one a mile to left center, but Jackie Bradley Jr. tied it with a two-run double in the seventh inning, and then in the eighth, a David Ortiz home run gave the Red Sox an eventual 4-2 win. Last night, Bradley was at it again. Two triples and a double, and then David Ortiz did it again. Another home run. Big Papi has homered in each of the first two games of this series. The Red Sox have won the first two. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Boston. So far, so good with the weather. It looks like we'll have baseball tonight. Dan Shulman, Jessica Mendoza, and Aaron Boone. They are known often as the Bronx Bombers, but they are not exactly living up to that nickname so far this year.
They're not. This team is a shell of itself from a year ago. Remember, last year, they were second in the American League in runs scored, and this has been one of the worst offenses in baseball the first month of the season. And while you can't win a division in the first month, you can certainly lose it. And that's why on May 1st, tonight, this is a huge game for this team to stop the bleeding. They're going up against a division rival in threat of getting swept and getting buried here early in the season in the standings. This offense, outside of Starlin Castro, needs to pick it up.
The last time David Price pitched in this ballpark 2 starts ago, he was roughed up by Tampa Bay, 8 earned runs and 3 2/3. But his last time out, which was on the road at Atlanta, he really figured things out.
He did, Dan. And you think about the plethora of pitches that he has to throw, 14 Ks in that last start against the Braves. And when I look at the Yankees lineup, who he's going to face tonight, it's really a key pitch that he used in that start against the Braves, and that was his cutter. And he used it arm side, meaning he threw it front door to the lefties. Watch him hit that left hip and then break it back over the plate. A very effective pitch to these lefties. He basically starts it at that left hip, helps it break back over with that cutter. Effective versus righties on the back door. You're going to see it come around the plate, come back over the plate, and you think about the lineup and how he's able to get good splits against lefties and righties. The top of this lineup for the Yankees, they got 2 big ones in Gardner and Ellsbury. The rest of these righties, but that's the pitch you key on, is that arm side cutter.
For more on Price, let's go down to field level. Here's Buster Olney.
Dan, David Price generally struggled in the month of April for the Red Sox. His ERA near 6, but teammates really believe that he drew a line in the sand during his last start against the Atlanta Braves. After a rough first inning, he went through the dugout into the clubhouse and started screaming at himself so loudly that he startled some teammates, and when he went back out on the mound, it was like he was a different pitcher, working at a different pace. In fact, 22.1 seconds between pitches in that last start, the fastest of his career. He struck out 14 of the last 27 batters he faced. He's hoping to keep that going in the rain here tonight, Dan.
Buster, thank you. Yeah, your umbrella tells part of the story. A light rain falling here at Fenway Park, but this game is going to begin on time. And the Red Sox will find out if the price is right tonight, if David Price can deliver a series sweep for the Red Sox over their arch rivals, the Yankees. beefy crunch and cheesy double beef burritos. You asked for them. Taco Bell brought them back for just $1. And in part by Cialis. And John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Well, it's been a rivalry for a long, long time, and a contentious one at times at that. The Yankees and the Red Sox. This is the first series of the season between these two teams, and the Red Sox have taken the first 2 games. Some hardcore Yankee fans are here on the road, battling the elements, hoping that the team can swing the bats and score some runs. And everybody hoping the weather holds out tonight as David Price leads the Red Sox onto the field. Let's take a look now at the lineup for the Yankees, brought to you by Taco Bell. And for a couple of reasons, a couple of changes tonight, a couple of familiar faces not in the lineup. More on that later. Jacoby Ellsbury, one of the few guys, Jess, who may actually be happy that David Price is on the mound.
Yeah, and they need him to get going. The top of this lineup is so crucial, especially with Ellsbury, and he's had great numbers against Price. But really, the best guy in this lineup has been Starlin Castro. This team has been struggling. He has been the bat that has carried him, especially recently. 10 hits his last 23 at-bats.
First year in Boston for David Price. From Tampa Bay to Detroit to Toronto, he's been a Cy Young Award winner, a multiple-time All-Star, had a great year last year. He's got 46 strikeouts this year in just 29 2/3 innings. As mentioned, 2 starts ago, he faced Tampa Bay here. One of the worst starts of his career, 8 earned runs in 3 2/3. But then in his last start in Atlanta, albeit against the Braves, a team that's really struggled in this year, 8 innings, just 2 runs, 2 walks, and he struck out 14 to tie a career high. Aaron, how different is David Price now from, say, David Price 4 or 5 years ago?
Not a ton different. And Buster touched on this in the open. The second inning, the real David Price showed up in the last game against the Atlanta Braves, and the fastball velocity picked up and the command to both sides of the plate. If he can come out and do that tonight, these Red Sox faithful will see the ace that they signed.
Well, the weather is going to be an issue tonight. It is raining, and it is expected to rain off and on throughout the evening and deep into the night. A lot of people are braving the elements. They're here on a cool night. It's down in the 40s right now, and they're all hoping they can get this game in here. The Red Sox are 14-10 on the season. The Yankees are just 8-14. This is the worst start to a season through 22 games for the Yankees since 1991. And it's the first time they've been 6 games under at any point in a season under Joe Girardi. Ellsbury will lead it off, hitting .235 on the season. You saw the good numbers that he has in his career against Price. And away we go here at Fenway. And a called strike. Alan Porter is the home plate umpire. John Tumpane at first. Lance Barksdale at second. And the crew chief Dan Iasonia is at third. Check swing and a ball high, and it's 1-1 on Ellsbury, who will be followed by Brett Gardner and then Alex Rodriguez. Carlos Beltran not in the lineup tonight. He has been struggling lately. Brian McCann is not in the lineup tonight. Didi Gregorius, a left-handed batter, getting the night off against Price as Ellsbury takes strike 2. But for Joe Girardi, there aren't a lot of answers right now. He gets asked every day, what can be done about the offense? I don't know what can be done other than the guys they've got starting to hit better. There's only so much that he can do, and they've got a bunch of different guys in a slump right now as Ellsbury pokes one fair down the left field line. Backhanded by Holt. On his way to second, and in there standing up, Jacoby Ellsbury.
We talked about Ellsbury's numbers against Price, so successful. This is lefty on lefty, normally a tough matchup, but watch what he does with his upper body. You see his lower body leave him, but he takes his hands and he takes his upper half with this pitch that's breaking away from him. So just does a nice job of getting barrel, poking it through, getting it down that left field line.
So that's now his 22nd hit in 64 career at-bats against David Price. And it's raining harder now than it was just 2 or 3 minutes ago. Here's Brett Gardner hitting .254 on the season. A check of the runner out at second. Gardner's going to get a bunt down. Pretty good one. Price will get chase and flip it out of the glove to Hanley Ramirez. But the sacrifice will move Ellsbury to third. Just, I guess, when you're struggling to score runs, you just try to get one any way you can.
And with the rain, I mean, I think both of those components together, Gardner doing a good job of taking it with them. But anytime you have rain, you just want to put the ball in play.
Alex Rodriguez greeted as Alex Rodriguez is always greeted here at Fenway Park. His fourth home run of the season came on Friday night off Henry Owens. He's hit 2 this week. Missed a couple of games with an oblique injury Monday, Tuesday, and since he's come back, he has swung the bat better, but still hitting just $185 on the season. The Red Sox go into the shift. 3 way around to the left side, and Hanley Ramirez way off the line at first. And the pitch down and in for ball 1.
And with the Yankees struggling as much as they have with runners in scoring position, last in the league, this is one of those early innings that, man, you do some good things. 2-strike hitting to get the double, a little execution to get the guy to third base with less than 2, and now the Red Sox essentially giving you a run if you can put the ball in play. These are one of those runs when you're struggling as a team that can get you going a little bit, get a little life in the dugout, because when you're not hitting, it can appear as though you're lifeless.
Some dirt in the cleats of Price, raindrops falling off the rim of the batting helmet of the Yankee hitters. The elements significant right now here at the outset of this game. Swing and a miss. Becoming more and more common, obviously, to see teams shifting against right-handed batters, not just lefties. But I mean, Pedroia, it's not like he's just a couple of feet on the shortstop side of the bag. He is way over onto the other side. And I doubt Hanley Ramirez has ever been as far away from the bag as he is right now in his first year playing first base. Strike 2.
Well, usually you see teams try to cover the hit up the middle, and with this shift, they're so far to the left, they're giving up everything just so nothing gets through that left side.
A-Rod did not like the call. Christian Vazquez, the young catcher for the Red Sox, already considered to be one of the best defensive catchers in baseball for framing, among other reasons, and he may have gotten Price a call right there. Sneaks a peek at Ellsbury. Remember, Ellsbury stole home earlier this season. That's a fair ball. They're coming home, and out at the plate is Ellsbury. Travis Shaw guns him down.
Well, Vazquez, we saw him steal a strike for strike 2, and they just kept coming in on Alex Rodriguez. Another cut fastball in off the plate, and Travis Shaw does a good job. The ball takes him to the backhand, which actually does him a favor because it allows him to clear and have a nice lane to throw and get the speedy Ellsbury at home plate. Tries to do the pop-up slide, but Vazquez able to hold that tag and does look like he catches him on the midsection before Ellsbury gets there. But that ball taking him to the line created a nice throwing lane for Travis Shaw.
So the frustration continues for the Yankees. It's a fielder's choice. Runner at first, 2 down. And the batter is Mark Teixeira, hitting just .224, 3 home runs so far. Boy, have the Red Sox been pleased with the play of Shaw at third base, a guy who's played both corner spots at various points in his college and professional career. Predominantly a third baseman in college at Kent State, but predominantly a first baseman as a professional. With Sandoval's issues, they moved him back over to third, and he's swinging the bat well, and he has been, I think the Red Sox would say, a pleasant surprise defensively.
Well, I think John Farrell and this staff expected him to be able to handle it at third base. I think they're pleasantly surprised at how good he has played the position there. A nice play to get a big second out.
Price behind Teixeira, 2-0. And a strike. You look at the batting averages in the Yankee lineup. Starlin Castro's at .305. Torres just a part-time player, 8 for 21, .381. But Ellsbury 235, A-Rod 185, Teixeira 224, Chase Headley 150. They're hitting under 200 as a team with runners in scoring position this year, and those numbers will take a little bit more of a hit with that fielder's choice that Rodriguez just hit into.
What I love about Price right now, he's not throwing real hard yet in the low 90s, but he is really locating. And as he's gotten in trouble, like a lot of great pitchers, he locates. He's dominated the inside corner.
Liner to short, and a nice grab by Xander Bogaerts to end the inning. So the Yankees threaten but cannot score as Price gets out of it. No score going to the bottom of the first. That incredible Game 4 of the 2004 American League Championship Series. Of course, the Red Sox coming back to win 4 in a row after being down 3-0 and going on to win the World Series that year. A pretty significant chapter in a great rivalry between these two teams. Let's take a look now at the Red Sox starting lineup tonight, as always brought to you by Taco Bell.
Well, look no further than the 4-hole. David Ortiz in his final season. Last couple of years has gotten off to a little bit of a slow start. Not this year. 321, 5 homers, and 19 RBIs already the first month of the season. And then Jackie Bradley Jr., one of those support players that continues to come of age. Last 7 games on fire, a number of game-winning hits, and a number of big at-bats in wins this week for the Boston Red Sox.
The Yankees feature tonight one of the hardest throwing starting pitchers in baseball in Nathan Eovaldi. He's coming off a great performance against Texas in his last start. Took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Wound up giving up just 2 hits in 7+ innings. He has also, and we'll talk about this a lot tonight, he has really improved his splitter, his split-fingered fastball, which has helped take him to another level in the second half of last year. Still a little bit inconsistent up and down, but boy, the raw stuff is there. And the Yankees still think he can develop into a top starter. Mookie Betts will lead it off for the Red Sox. Betts, Pedroia, and Bogaerts here in the rain in the bottom of the first. 46 degrees at game time here in Boston. So it's May, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like May, does it? Mookie Betts hitting .266 on the season, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. What a productive guy he has turned into the last couple of years out of the leadoff spot, scoring runs, driving in runs, a lot of extra base hits. I'll tell you, they dressed for it tonight. They knew what they were dealing with. There's a slider that breaks outside at 86 miles an hour, and the count is 2-1 on Betts, who last year hit 18 homers, 42 doubles, 8 triples, stole 21 bases, and hit .291. This is one of the rising stars in the major leagues. Just 23 years of age. Up the middle and through, a base hit.
And this is something to keep an eye on with Eovaldi. One of the hardest fastballs in all of Major League Baseball, but it's not a dominant pitch for him. Hitters tend to see it well, and when he's up with the pitch and in the middle of the plate, it's a pitch that will get hit hard. It's a mistake up and out over the plate, and Mookie Betts rifles it right back through the middle. The key for him is commanding the bottom half of the zone, the corners with the fastball. That's what sets up the really good split fingered.
It'll be interesting to see how the Red Sox play this. They've got 21 stolen bases already this year as Dustin Pedroia steps in. Mookie Betts has 6, but Eovaldi is very tough to run on. And Pedroia was backing out of the box as he takes ball 1. Eovaldi's only had 11 stolen bases against him in his major league career. But Betts likes to run.
Well, with the ground wet, this is usually not a time you want to go as a runner just because you're going to stick. You've seen a lot of guys clear their cleats. You want to make sure that you're getting a good handle of the ground. So right now, if you're against a pitcher that's not easy to run on, this would not be the best time.
Pretty good hole on the right side with Teixeira holding on Betts. Pedroia likes to hit the ball the other way, and he's doing it even more this year than normal. Of his 32 hits this year, 14 of them have gone to the opposite field. And Dustin Pedroia looks healthy. He looks as healthy as he has been in at least a couple of years. Hitting over 300. He's got 3 home runs and 13 runs driven in so far. And he does go the other way for a base hit. Betts around second on his way to third. Hicks with a strong arm, throw not in time, and the Red Sox have runners on the corners with nobody out.
Well, Dan, you said it. Dustin Pedroia hitting the ball the other way much more effectively this year. Just over 20% of his hits went that way last year. He pounds this through the right side, and then the speed of Mookie Betts, even though there's no outs, he reads this ball perfectly off the bat. He knows he's going to have a chance to get to third base. And all of a sudden, the Boston Red Sox have a great scoring opportunity. You see Mookie Betts. He knows as soon as that's past him, he knows his speed, he knows the arm of the right fielder, and he gets into third base easily, setting the table for this big middle of the order for the Red Sox.
Here comes their number 3 hitter. Another young player, 23-year-old Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts hit .320 last year and is hitting .290 so far this season. And it's not going to get a whole lot easier, especially the way Big Papi is swinging the bat. He homered last night. He homered Friday night. He certainly doesn't look like a guy who's ready for retirement. But he says he's going to retire at the end of the year. But he is swinging a hot bat right now. And a swing and a ground ball to third. To second in time to force Pedroia. With the fielder's choice for Bogaerts, the RBI as Betts crosses the plate, and it's 1-0 Red Sox. And now Ortiz. Last night was career home run number 508. He's already got 5 homers this year. He's got 11 doubles already this year. And he's 40. And he has been a nightmare for the Yankees to deal with the last couple of nights.
It'll be interesting to see how Eovaldi throws him. He tends to like to stay away He gets ahead, go with that split finger fastball.
Shift on for the Yankees, of course, and Ortiz chases 0-1.
And Jess, it's a great point. He's been deadly to start the season out over the plate, and teams are so reluctant to go inside because a mistake in there can turn into a long ball. But I think you've absolutely got to attack him in, and that first pitch is a good indication of how the Yankees might work him.
And how caught off guard Ortiz was.
Yep.
You can tell he's looking away, and that reaction just on him coming in and low.
You can hear them chanting his name here at Fenway. 0-1 the count. And the pitch, a big swing and a foul back, and it's 0-2.
Fortunate there. They wanted to get that to the inside corner. It leaked over the heart of the plate. Enough elevation and enough velocity to where it just gets on him a little bit. But you see, that's a pitch he wants back. All over it, fouling it straight back. We'll see if they go now with 2 strikes at some point to that split. Try and get the chase.
Short lead at first by Bogaerts. 0-2 to Ortiz. Bounced in, and Bogaerts on his way to second and in there without a throw.
Outstanding base running by Xander Bogaerts. He understands with 2 strikes who's on the mound. Nathan Eovaldi's probably at some point going to try and work the split in the dirt. Watch the jump he gets. He reads that ball before it even bounces away from the catcher. As soon as it hits the dirt, he's in full stride, gets into scoring position easily. That's great heads-up base running, and that's doing your homework before the game to understand what Eovaldi's going to try to do, especially when he gets to 2 strikes.
And no stolen base there. It's a wild pitch. Bogaerts didn't break until after the ball was in the dirt, so a wild pitch charged to Eovaldi. And now a runner in scoring position for Ortiz. Swing and a miss. Got him with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, 2 down.
And that's Ortiz having to protect against the split finger that he had just seen before. And you look at the setup and how Eovaldi attacked. He comes inside hard, 98, and low, 96, up in the zone, fouled off. Then you see off speed down, and that's exactly where Ortiz is predicting. Look at how he's late. It's a protective swing. That's not normally the swing you see from David Ortiz, but that was the pitch he wanted. First pitch, he ended up getting the K pitch.
So now 2 down in the inning, 1-0 Red Sox, and the batter was the first baseman, Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez up to 284 on the season. He's been swinging the bat better in recent days. The Red Sox happy with the way he's playing first base, a new position for him as he moves back into the infield this year after spending last year in left field. Funny, on Baseball Tonight, Carl Ravitch asked him about 10 home runs in April last year, 1 this year. Kind of what's the deal? And Hanley dropped it's a long season, bud. Well, dropped that line on him.
And his body mechanics said, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Pops it up on the infield. And that'll end the inning. But the Red Sox do get a run. Bogaerts drives in Betts. 1-0 at the end of 1. At Fenway Park in Boston, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Dan Schulman, Jessica Mendoza, Aaron Boone, Buster Olney, and some rain. Crew chief Dan Iasonia on the left with the head groundskeeper of the Red Sox. Our understanding is it's just going to be kind of steady and drizzly and kind of miserable tonight, but they're going to try to play through it. As we move into the second inning, 1-0 Boston leading. Starlin Castro leads it off for the Yankees. The former Cub got off to an incredible start this year, drove in 8 runs in the Yankees' first 3 games. Obviously has cooled off a fair bit since then, but still hitting .305 on the season. He'll be followed by Chase Headley and Aaron Hicks. David Price 3-0, an elevated ERA of 5.76. A lot of that damage coming in the one game against Tampa Bay. 8 earned runs and 3 2/3. As Castro takes down and in.
There's just a comfort with Castro in this Yankees uniform versus the Cubs, and since he's come over, the key has always been for him just getting on time, getting that rhythm. He's always had great plate coverage, just always hasn't been consistent. When you watch him now, especially on a Yankee team that we've talked about has been struggling, he's one of the few that just seems like he's in a rhythm. He seems very comfortable.
Well, David Price just put the changeup in his mind, and the count is 2-2. And now the fastball at 91 is fouled off.
Yeah, and even though the velocity hasn't climbed up to where we might see it at some point tonight, 93, 94 miles an hour, he has established a presence already on the inside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters. That'll only open up the outside for the changeup, for the cutter that Jess has talked about in the open, the backdoor cutter. He's tremendous at using both sides of the plate.
2-2 again, and a weak ground ball down to first. Ramirez to his left in the easy play for out number 1. Got a great week of Major League action coming your way beginning tomorrow night when the Chicago Cubs take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Great divisional rivalry in the National League Central. Wednesday night, the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox. How about the year that the White Sox are off to? They won again today. They beat Baltimore 7-1, and a week from tonight we'll have the same matchup we've got tonight, but in the other yard. We'll be down to the Bronx as the Red Sox play the Yankees again. Robin Ventura's Chicago White Sox are 18-8 on the season as Chase Headley lines one to back up the box for a 1-out single. The White Sox far and away with the best record in the American League. They are getting some absolutely outstanding pitching. It wound up being a 4-game split between the White Sox and the Orioles. The White Sox winning the last 2. Today, Chris Sale only went 5 1/3. The pitch count got up. He threw 112 pitches in 5 1/3, but only gave up 1 run. He's now 6-0 with a 1.66 ERA on the season, and the White Sox are 18-8. Here's Aaron Hicks. Missed most of this past week with a sore left shoulder. Missed 6 games. Pinch hit in last night's game, getting a start in right field for the struggling Carlos Beltran tonight.
And even though his bat hasn't come around, his defense, and we saw a little glimpse of it, a throw last inning from right field, but he's a guy they'd like to get in the lineup, especially against these lefties every single time.
Past Price, who's going to get it? Pedroia for 1 and on to first, the double play. Well done by Dustin Pedroia. Forces Headley at second. Fires on to first in time to get Hicks, and the inning is over. This week's edition of the Mendoza Line just takes us behind the scenes and learns some lessons from David Ortiz.
Dan, it's hard to believe that David Ortiz, 40 years old, what he's been able to do. But the biggest thing is the stuff he shares. 3 big points. If you're not paying attention, hitting is impossible. Whether it's video, know your opponent, you need to pay attention. Number 2 for him in sharing is understand how the game is evolving. He said even the last 5 years, you have to understand how the game has changed or you're never going to get better. And number 3, simply, especially the young guys, what they talk about, what he gives them is just be you. Whether that's hitting, whether that's you personally. He says in this city of Boston and the pressures that come, you're always thinking you have to change, you have to adjust. But the biggest thing that he says is just be you.
So how much of a video guy is he? I mean, you get the impression he's just David Ortiz and it's kind of his world and we're all living in it, and he walks up the plate and he does what he does. How much of a video guy?
That's the thing that impresses me the most. You look at him, right? He's so talented, so strong, so you see why he hits. I spent an hour with him in the video room just this past Friday, and he understands everything about who he's going up against. I mean, he remembers things from 5 or 6 years ago, and if he can't, he's pulling it up. But the thing is, he's bringing in the young guys with him to teach and keep it going.
Travis Shaw leads off the inning.
You know, all the great hitters that have longevity, they're usually always the smartest hitters in the game. And that's obviously the case with a guy like David Ortiz. You know, I got to play when he was a young player with Miguel Cabrera. And yeah, he's talented and he's great, but he's the smartest hitter out there too. He knows what teams are trying to do to him, can make adjustments game to game, at bat to at bat, pitch to pitch. Big Papi embodies that.
And he also, guys, David Ortiz is someone who will take a lesson, like after what happened in Baltimore a few years ago when he got upset about ball and strike calls and tore up the phone in the visitors' dugout in Baltimore. He told me that after that happened, he got a phone call from someone who wanted to give him a lesson. That was Mariano Rivera, the Yankees, who doesn't like to call opposing players, especially opposing hitters. But after he saw David Ortiz do this, he called Ortiz and said, you know what? You're someone who everyone's watching. What were you doing right there? And as David told me that story, he broke out with a laugh, and he sounded like a 5th grader who'd been chastised by his teacher.
He was upset about a couple of called strikes in that at bat. Actually wound up striking out swinging, but was very upset, obviously, as you saw, from a couple of called strikes. You could see kind of Dustin Pedroia kind of bailing and ducking for cover.
Look out below.
Yeah.
Shrapnel flying all over the place.
And actually, eventually, Pedroia was one of the guys who restrained Ortiz as he was back out on the field. And Pedroia may only be like 5'8" and 165, but he got a hold of Big Papi and did the best he could to get him off the field before more damage was done.
Well, and honestly, when I think about all the lessons, you know, that he now passes on to younger guys, and this is a big moment for him as you see Pedroia grab him and have a talk, is the fact that he's continuously sharing with this young crop of Red Sox guys. And I even think Friday, listening and sitting in that video room, and he had a home run that night, and he told me, hey, if Betances gets in this game, I'm looking for that breaking ball. First pitch, he gets it. And I mean, I fell out of my seat thinking this guy can predict what's going to happen, and he's sharing with the rest of this team how to do that.
Aaron, you were asked before the game on Baseball Tonight, who's the greatest designated hitter ever? Is it David Ortiz or is it Edgar Martinez?
It's a great debate. I mean, you put them up next to each other. I think the answer is David Ortiz, and I think part of that is just the sustained excellence that he's now still showing at 40 years of age, crossing the 500 home run mark, and just the impact in the big games that he's played in world championship teams here with the Boston Red Sox. I give the nod to him, but man, Edgar can rake.
He was so good.
And as a right-handed hitter, man, I just wanted to once hit a double and feel like, oh, that was just like Edgar did it. That was my benchmark, always.
The batter is Christian Vasquez. Brock Holt drew a walk. He's at first with 1 out. The Red Sox lead 1-0 in the bottom of the second. Vasquez, the young catcher, the Red Sox are so excited about, predominantly from a defensive standpoint, although as John Farrell said to us before the game, he's not an automatic out at the plate, but whether it's framing pitches, working with a pitcher, blocking pitches in the dirt, throwing out runners, They think that Vasquez has a chance to be Yadier Molina-like defensively. And Vasquez works with Molina in the wintertime, spends a lot of time honing his craft with Yadier Molina.
Just being around the clubhouse today, was kind of the joke. He's the fourth Molina. Like he's kind of just an extension of what that family, just because he's worked so closely with them and understood the game.
Holt not going, and Vasquez will look at a strike, 1-1.
Guys, he told me yesterday that actually the greatest thrill that he's had in professional baseball was after he was called up to the big leagues, getting the congratulation text from Jose Molina, from Yadier Molina, once he reached the big leagues.
Holt's trying to go over there. He's trying to get a jump.
Does not go, and it's fouled back. Right now, the rotation for the Red Sox behind the plate: Vasquez catches 3 of the 5 starters. Hannigan catches 2. Hannigan catches Henry Owens, the young left-hander who's up with the team right now because Rodriguez and Kelly are both on the DL, and he catches Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer. Vasquez will catch the other 3: Buchholz, Porcello, and Price. The arm is not all the way back from Tommy John surgery. Just like with a pitcher, they think it'll be another year, a full 2 years, until it's all the way back. That throw from Eovaldi gets past Teixeira, bounces out into shallow right, and Holt takes second.
You know, you don't think of the Boston Red Sox and their athleticism and speed, but it's absolutely a factor for this offense now. Yes, they can beat you up and hit the ball out of the ballpark, but they have athletes now that can affect you on the base pass as well. And Eovaldi was paying close attention, tried to be a little too quick with that throw, and launches it down the right field line.
An error charge to Eovaldi, and another runner in scoring position for the Red Sox here with 1 out in the bottom of the second. Red Sox won 4-2 Friday night, shut the Yankees out 8-0 last night, and have an early 1-0 lead here tonight. And a win for Boston in this game would move them into sole possession of first place in the American League East. Baltimore, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, they lost to the White Sox today. So they're now tied with the Red Sox at 14-10. The Blue Jays defeated Tampa Bay. So Toronto back within 2 of 500, and the Yankees in the basement right now.
That last pitch by Eovaldi, 77 miles per hour, and they're communicating right now, I think, making sure that he's got a good grip, good handle, and you've seen him consistently wipe off the baseball. We've seen a couple misses up in the zone.
Been a tough start for Joe Girardi and the New York Yankees. 8-14 on the season. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 12 of their last 16. A look back at the runner with a 2-2 on the way, down and away, blocked by Romine, and the count now full on Vasquez.
Good job there by Romine, and understanding, hey, you're catching a guy with a split that looks to get outs and swings out of the strike zone. And a textbook job there of smothering that ball, and just as importantly, keeping it close so that Holt could not advance to third with less than 2 outs.
Hot hitter on deck, Jackie Bradley Jr. He's had a sensational week for Boston. Back to the mound, and Eovaldi's got Holt hung up between second and third. Holt's going to make him work for it, and the tag is applied. There are there are 7 Yankees right now between second and third. The outfielders were in, everybody was in, trying to make sure they had somebody who could put a tag on Holt.
Well, you read when you're on second base, anything to your left or up the middle, you want to try and get a jump on, but Eovaldi does a good job of getting himself into a good fielding position, shows a little range off the mound there, and then gets the ball in the hands of the infielders. And just as importantly, keeping Vasquez off of second base and out of scoring position.
1-4-5 on the putout. So Vasquez at first with 2 down, and now here's Bradley. He has had a huge series here against the Yankees and a big week. Remember, a week ago Sunday night, we saw the Red Sox down in Houston, and he had a big hit in extra innings in that game. This is last night against the Yankees with a triple into right center field off Chasen Shreve, and then another one into the right field corner off of Johnny Barbado. He also had a double in the game. He also had a home run Monday in Atlanta, the only run of the game, a 1-0 win. And John Farrell feels that with Mookie Betts hitting behind him, teams are attacking Bradley, and Bradley's being more aggressive, Jess, on hittable pitches.
Especially early in the count, and that's exactly what you saw last night. Is he came on early, and that traditionally Jackie Bradley Jr. usually takes a lot of pitches, but I think recognizing, yeah, you're in the 9 hole, but look at who's leadoff, look at who's on deck, and nobody wants to get to Mookie Betts. So because of that, they're going to come after you early. We saw it even in this at bat. He swung at the first pitch.
Shift is on for the Yankees. Headley has come across to the second base side of the bag, if you will. Torreyes is still at his normal spot at short. And Castro over to his left, trying to plug up that hole as Bradley fouls it off.
And I think that's where we're seeing these Red Sox, the younger Red Sox players, really mature and take the example of a Big Papi and start to apply it in a game plan sense at the plate. And a lot of times, you know, when you have a tough year like the Boston Red Sox did last year, it gives young players an opportunity to learn at the big league level and figure things out. And last year we saw a lot of the young Red Sox players come of age, and this year it's manifested itself in some really big, important at-bats and productive at-bats the first month of the season.
Yeah, they are in some spots a very young team. Catcher, center field, right field, shortstop. There's a ball well struck to left, but Gardner is there, shy of the track, and that's the inning. 1-0 at the end of 2 here in the rain at Fenway. When we come back, Jess Mendoza goes one-on-one with Mookie Betts here in Boston. On the infield as the rain continues to fall. We go top third with the Red Sox leading the Yankees 1-0 here on Sunday Night Baseball. Earlier today, Jessica Mendoza went one-on-one with the Red Sox right fielder Mookie Betts.
2014, you broke into the scene. This is your second full year, but when you're here at Fenway, you look around, you got Pesky's pole to your left, you got the Ted Williams red seat behind you. What is it like playing here?
I mean, it's so fun with the Red Sox community. It's just, you know, all the fans make it so fun, and I mean, it's filled with history. And I mean, you just, like you said, just look around and you see people signing the pole from so long ago, and like you said, they see the red seat and whatnot. It's just great history to be a part of.
Great history, and I think about you being unique. I mean, you bowl in the off season. Yeah. You bowled in the PBA World Series, 6 straight strikes. It's unusual. What do you take from that? When did you start, and why bowling?
I mean, I've been bowling since I was 3, I want to say, so it's just a family thing. And I mean, it's good to, people see them bowl on Sunday, but they don't understand what they go through the days before. And you know, we bowled 9 games for 4 days straight, and then, you know, on the last day, some of the guys had to bowl 9, and then had to bowl, you know, 12 more that night. So I mean, I wanted to be a part of it and see what they actually go through, and I finally was.
3 years old, what did that look like? Bowling?
Yeah, I think my mom said I was just pushing it down the lane, so whatever.
Having fun. So one of the things, your mom's Mookie. Where did the name come from? Where did it originate?
She said her and my dad were watching Mookie Blaylock play basketball, and evidently he was having a pretty good game, so she decided to name me Mookie.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, another interesting
Wait. He dropped a ma'am. We can't just. He dropped a ma'am on you at the end of that interview. We're not letting that slide.
Oh, these youngins.
Yeah.
No, it was interesting with basketball, though, as he was saying, we were talking about hitting after that a little bit, and he was saying, you know, I understand basketball sometimes more so than I do baseball. He's like, baseball doesn't make sense to me sometimes. He's like, hitting doesn't make sense.
You mean he hasn't figured it out yet and he's this good?
Right? No, he's saying, you know, sometimes I feel like I have it all. Like I'm doing it and then I line out and I don't get the result. And then there's other times I get these blue pits, and he said basketball translates. You know, if you have a good game, you're rolling, you get the baskets, you get the shots, you get the defense. But he's like, baseball's different that way. It was kind of cool.
I asked him when we saw them last week in Houston. His actual name is Marcus. It's Marcus Lynn Betts. And there's a bit of a story that apparently cannot really be verified, whether his mom gave him the initials MLB because she foresaw the possibility that he would be a baseball player. So I asked Mookie about that, and he goes, yeah, well, my mom says she did that. I said, well, did she? And he goes, well, I'm not sure if it's true. I mean, mom might have spun just a pretty good yarn here, and she's going with it, but his initials are MLB. Like Aaron's are ABB. Here. I suppose you have a real middle name, but I haven't heard it all weekend. I just heard the other one.
I like the MLB story.
It's a good story, right?
Yeah, I think
even if
it's just.
I believe her.
Yeah.
Moms don't lie.
Moms don't lie, right?
Especially mams.
Yeah.
He needs to get fully on board with it.
Ronald Torreyes, the batter, getting a start at short for the Yankees tonight. And he's got himself a base hit. Well, we told you that Mookie Betts is a bowler of some renown, and he has competed in the World Series of Bowling in Reno, Nevada, the PBA World Series of Bowling, and at one point rolled, I think is the way you say it, 6 consecutive strikes. I mean, he's got skills.
How about the range of motion?
Yeah.
It makes my shoulder hurt just watching it.
That's something he got approved through the Red Sox to be able to do it in the off season, and he enjoys it. Like he said, it's a part of his family. It's something that makes him kind of calm, perspective, and I think just having that other sport, something else to think about during the off season for him, pretty cool.
Austin Romine getting a start behind the plate for Brian McCann tonight for the Yankees, and he'll take outside ball 1. The leadoff man aboard for the Yankees here in the third. They had a leadoff double from Jacoby Ellsbury in the first, but he was eventually thrown out by Travis Shaw. Tried to score on a ground ball to third and was thrown out going from third to home on a nice play by Shaw. The Yankees had a 1-out base hit from Chase Headley in the second, but he was erased on a double play. And now they've got the leadoff man aboard here in the third. The Yankees right near the bottom in just about every offensive category in baseball.
Kind of like that Girardi, at least 7, 8, 9 right here, remind Torreyes and Hicks. Just give them a little bit of a mix. Let's get some new guys in here. Maybe even just so much resting the lineup that has been.
And the bunt is down, barehanded by Shaw and dug out by Ramirez. But Romine will advance the runner.
Well, Romine here with no outs. It's kind of in between, like a drag bunt for a hit. He saw Shaw playing back. Maybe I'll drop it down. Worst case scenario, again, with a struggling offense, maybe I get a runner into scoring position. Shaw with a wet ground probably didn't need to barehand that ball, made it a tougher play, but able to stick it and throw accurately to first base. You see Hanley go down low and get it, but another runner in scoring position opportunity here for the Yankees.
Second sacrifice of the game already for the Yankees, and back to the top of the order for Jacoby Ellsbury, who, as we mentioned, doubled his first time up. First pitch and a hard hit ground ball down the right field line, past a diving Ramirez. Torreyes will come in to score. It's another double for Ellsbury, and the Yankees have tied it.
Thank you.
Well, this is one of the guys they have to get going, because when Jacoby Ellsbury is right, he's an on-base machine, and obviously the speed element. Looks like they tried to get in on him, but Jacoby continues to hit David Price very well in his career. Perhaps not a great read by Hanley. I think he thought it was hit a little softer than it actually was. And the great speed to get down to second base easily. But a big, big hit here for a Yankee offense that, again, has really been struggling in these situations.
And Booney, we talked about this early, but how about Jacoby against David Price? I mean, his numbers coming in were already really well, and just the way he reads, and we've seen now both sides of the plate, him being able to cover, very unusual for a left-handed hitter against a left-handed pitcher.
2 for 2 tonight and came in hitting .333 lifetime against Price, as Gardner hits a two-hopper right at Dustin Pedroia. That's the second out. Ellsbury takes third. Tomorrow night, it's an NL Central battle in the Steel City between the Cubs and the Pirates as they begin a 3-game series. Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. The pitching matchup, Jason Hamill for the Cubs and Garrett Cole for the Pirates. The Pirates lost today in extra innings to Cincinnati, 6-5. The Cubs lost as well. They lost in extra innings to Atlanta, 4-3. So Chicago still with a great record, 17-6. They are 3 up on the Pirates for top spot of the NL Central. Here's A-Rod. First pitch swinging a high fly ball deep left center field. It is gone. Alex Rodriguez with a 2-run home run off David Price, and the Yankees have the lead.
Remember how they attacked him in his first at bat. Price dominated him on the inside part of the plate. They wanted to go back there. Look at Vasquez set up on the corner, even in off the plate. This ball leaks right down the middle. And this is a familiar swing we've seen this weekend from Alex Rodriguez. He got Henry Owens on Friday night on a pitch up and out over the plate, similarly to that. And Alex Rodriguez looking out over the plate, did not miss it.
Teixeira grounds one down to third, and that will end the inning. But the Yankees score 3 runs, 2 of them on career home run number 692 for Alex Rodriguez. 3-1 Yankees. Park in Boston. Sunday night baseball presented by Taco Bell with Aaron Boone, Jessica Mendoza, and Buster Olney. I'm Dan Schulman. We go to the bottom of the third. The Yankees now with a 3-1 lead. Jacoby Ellsbury doubled in a run, and then Alex Rodriguez with a 2-run homer to left center off David Price. 3-1 Yankees. Top of the order for Boston. Betts grounds one down to third. Backhanded stop. Headley, one down. So Eovaldi gets a quick first out. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN presented by Taco Bell is brought to you by Scott's. It's good out here. And it's a little better out here than it was when the game began. Still raining a little bit, but not as hard. Easy for us to say. Maybe we should check with Buster on that. We're up here in the booth. Buster, what's going on down there?
It's raining.
Missed his calling as a meteorologist. There, he's under. Come on, Buster.
I mean, Buster's. He's.
What do you want?
He's dressed up like Kirkchin down there.
I've got electronics down
That's
here.
true.
Do you want me to
That's
get
fair.
electrocuted?
No,
What's the deal?
Fair. That's fair.
You got to take care of Buster.
That's fair. Poor Buster. Best seat in the house.
Temperature's actually nice.
2-0 on Dustin Pedroia. Had a base hit his first time up. Raising his average up to .317. See a note here that Tim Lincecum will hold kind of a throwing session, a showcase on Friday, if you will, that as many as 20 teams are expected to attend as Pedroia lines another base hit into right field. Lincecum has kept working out, you know, whether it's with the Giants or somebody else, still hoping to get back to the big leagues. Pedroia now 2 for 2, and here comes Xander Bogaerts. David Ortiz out into the on-deck circle. Eovaldi struck him out back in the first inning. Bogaerts reached on a fielder's choice. And picked up an RBI in that first inning. Ortiz with home runs in each of the first 2 games of the series. Line drive into left field, trapped by Gardner. That's a base hit for Bogaerts. Pedroia up to second.
This is what makes Bogaerts so consistent as a hitter. His ability to kind of react to this pitch. 85 miles per hour, just gets enough around it, but Brett Gardner, tremendous job. He makes this look so easy, but the way he's able to slide and scoop, and he's ready to use his leg. You see how his leg comes up just in case that ball gets by him, and you see the wet grass out there. So many factors with a speedy Pedroia on the bases.
So now 2 men on for Big Papi. Keeps swinging the bat like he has so far in the first month of the season. It's going to be a 6-month love fest between David Ortiz and Red Sox fans.
And tonight he's laid off both split-fingered fastballs from Eovaldi. But as a result, the Yankees have tried to attack him with the fastball down, saying if your discipline is to lay off down, we'll go hard down.
Pitch in the dirt, but the runners cannot advance.
And that's why I think the Yankees, Eovaldi and Romine right now need to try and attack the bottom of the zone with the fastball, because it's obvious that Ortiz's discipline right now is telling him, make him get the ball up. I don't want to offer it anything low, because that is going to turn into the chase pitch, which is a split.
count in Ortiz's favor. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 men on with 1 out. Low again.
The spot that Eovaldi needs to hit is not just low, but low and in. And that was the first strike he got against Ortiz that really set up the strikeout his last at bat.
You know Poppy's going to have the green light here if he wants it. He's probably looking for something out over the plate. He's been hitting the ball with authority the other way. He's looking to do it again here.
You know you've earned your stripes when it's 3-0 and you don't even look down to the third base coach and he's not looking at you. I mean, he's earned the right to do what he wants on 3-0.
That's a few fastballs tonight that Eovaldi has blown past him or that he's fouled straight back. And there's no doubt about what he's looking to do with that pitch. I think he set his sights out over the plate, had the big monster the other way in mind, just a little behind.
The 3-1. Lays off outside of the knees and the bases are loaded.
Well, let's take a look at how they attacked Big Poppy in this at bat. They started him out with a couple of off-speed pitches, a split finger that down out of the zone, another one down and out of the zone. Then they tried to locate down and away with the fastball. The discipline was there to lay off it. He sneaks a heater by him, but then too far down and away on the 3-1 pitch. And now a great chance for Boston to get back into this game.
Larry Rothschild, longtime Yankee pitching coach, out to the mound to talk with Eovaldi and Romine. Hanley Ramirez will be the next challenge. Eovaldi part of an up and down rotation so far for the Yankees. Masahiro Tanaka has looked very good. Well, they've got other pitchers struggling in that rotation right now. Bases are loaded for the Red Sox. Pedroia is at third. Bogarts is at second. Ortiz just drew a walk. And Ramirez trying to change the complexion of this game with one swing of the bat. The pitch misses inside, ball 1. Nathan Eovaldi has never given up a grand slam in his career. Hanley Ramirez has hit 6 of them. Breaking ball away, 2-0, and he's got nowhere to put him.
Well, Hanley's going to be looking for something hard out over the plate. If Eovaldi can command the inside part of the plate with the fastball, that's his best chance to maybe get a ground out, maybe get a double play, or if he trusts the slider to attack at the bottom of the zone again.
Right at the knees, 2-1.
Booney, you mentioned the slider in that last start against Texas, which the Yankees really believe was his best since joining their organization. He had a great breaking ball that he often got back in the count with, and it just doesn't seem like he's got as much of a feel for that tonight.
Splitter was also a big pitch for him. As hard as he throws, he does not rely on the fastball as much as you would think. Breaking ball grounded up the middle and through, a base hit. Pedroia will score, Bogarts will score, and the 2-run single by Hanley Ramirez has tied the game.
Well, Buster, there was that slider. He tried to get back in the count. 2-1 count. It's a pitch that he feels like he can flip in there for a strike. Perhaps Hanley Ramirez had that in the back of his mind. Excellent plate coverage as it's pretty well located pitch, but the bat speed on a tapper, he's able to get enough on that to scoot it through the infield and tie this ball game.
So in the third, tied at 3 here at Fenway, and the Red Sox still threatening. First and second, still just 1 out. And the batter will be Travis Shaw. Struck out his first time up, but swinging the bat well through the first month of the season, just as he did late last year for the Red Sox, when he showed some power. Won a job in the spring by having a great spring while Pablo Sandoval struggled. Shaw drafted out of high school by the Red Sox, 32nd round pick out of high school, decided to go to Kent State, and 3 years later was drafted by the Red Sox again, this time as a 9th rounder.
You know, it's interesting, a conversation that David Ortiz had with Travis Shaw in the offseason. He said, you need to do everything you can. You're going to get an opportunity. You need to do everything that you can to have yourself ready day one in spring training. You come in ready to perform in spring training because your performance in spring training matters. He hit from day one in spring training, showed he could play defensively at third, and he hasn't stopped hitting, and he has claimed a significant role in this Red Sox lineup.
And he's done it with sort of a chip on his shoulder, and I like that about Travis Shaw. He came into spring training as if it was April 1st. He was ready to go, but he also wasn't afraid to say, hey, I want to make this decision very difficult. And you got to remember, at the time, it was to beat out Hanley Ramirez. It was to fight for that first base, and then it ended up switching over to third base, and it didn't matter to him. He said, I want to make this difficult for this team to keep me out of this lineup.
And Shaw strikes out for the second time tonight.
Well, in his first at bat, he struck him out on a fastball up and out of the zone. Here he goes to the split finger. It's a good one. It's not in the dirt, and actually, if he takes that pitch, it's probably a strike. See the little downward action and definitely an off speed, and Shaw well out in front and over the top of that. A big second out for Eovaldi.
Here's Brock Holt. That splitter, a huge part of the arsenal of Nathan Eovaldi, and it's a pitch where he changed the grip on it midway through last season and has been more effective. If you look at his index finger, Jess, you can see it's a lot more on the seam, just on the edge of the seam last year, but it's different now.
Yeah, I think at the naked eye you see that it's the seam, and that's the key right there. When you look at the new grip, his index finger is more on the seam, and what that does is it allows him, he told us, to finish that pitch so much better, and it allowed it to actually have more velocity, but to get exactly what you saw on that last strikeout, that depth, that ability to be able to throw it at the bottom of the zone and then have it kind of tumble off. And because of that, since changing the grip, look at the numbers on his splitter. It's over doubled from 11.4% to 28.2. This is a pitch that he counts on consistently to get those swing and misses.
Behind in the count again, Brock Holt, the batter. Now 3-0.
And that's a pitch that will help him going forward in his career, neutralize left-handers. And in his first few years in the big leagues, left-handers have hit him pretty well. He's had his way with right-handed hitters, but that split-fingered pitch will be a pitch that really helps him as a strikeout pitch to lefties.
And I think the difference tonight is he hasn't had, and it could be the wet ball, it could be anything, but he hasn't had the command that we saw from his last start that he's had, especially against these lefties, because he'll throw it in any count. He'll throw it early, he'll throw it late, he'll throw it behind, he'll throw it ahead.
Base hit into center field for Holt. Ortiz rumbling around third, and he will score, I believe, just ahead of the tag, and yes, the run will count. Ortiz just crossed the plate before Ramirez was tagged out at third. Home plate umpire Alan Porter signaling the run does count. So the Red Sox get 3, and they've got the lead back here at Fenway. Aaron. Or not, David Ortiz stepped on a home plate before Hanley Ramirez was tagged out at third, and we're going to show you some replays here. The ruling on the field is safe, that Ortiz steps on home before Ramirez is tagged out. But I got to ask you guys, I mean, Ortiz, who's not a fast guy, I get it, but he's not going as fast as he can at home plate. And Hanley Ramirez, was there a mistake made by Hanley at all on this play as well?
Well, let's start with David Ortiz. You've got to understand, with 2 outs and there's traffic on the bases, you always have in the back of your mind, hurry up and score. And that's part of the guy on deck that's coaching you, that's saying hurry. You need to know that. Hanley, I think, gets in a little bit of no man's land of knowing he doesn't want to just run into an out before Poppy scores. But had he gone hard all the way, he probably gets to third base easy.
Again, the ruling on the field is the run scored, and I don't see how there's enough to overturn it.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it, you know, by a fraction of a second, it might have gone either way, but I'm not sure there's enough to overturn this.
Had they ruled that he didn't score, it probably holds up, and I think the same is true here. I think that run's going to count.
Alan Porter on the left is the home plate umpire. He's the one who right away signaled the run will count. The other umpire that's with him is Dan Iasonia, the crew chief. And now Iasonia made a signal, I think, to David Price, like, start throwing your warm-ups. Price doesn't have a baseball.
Well, because at this point, the inning, no matter what, has ended. It's just deciding if the run counts or not.
Yeah.
So Price in this game can continue.
Man, it's close.
Yeah.
That's a great shot right there, because you can definitely see when Headley first makes contact with Hanley Ramirez's jersey.
And Joe Girardi is joining us now. This was the break where we were going to talk to Joe. I think we're going to get you live while this replay's going on. What do you see, Joe?
Well, it's close. You know, it's going to come down to angles is what's going to come down to. So, you know, we thought it was worthy of challenging.
You got to feel good about the offense breaking out a little bit. A-Rod hitting another home run.
Yeah, you know, we got 3 runs across, and we're going to have to go back to work. You know, it's either going to be 3-3 or 4-3, and we're going to have to go back to work here.
Well, with Nathan Eovaldi, a huge reliance that he usually has on his split or fastball. What have you seen from that pitch specifically this game?
Well, you know, he gets a ground ball from Hanley. It just happens to be up the middle. You know, if it's at the shortstop, it's a double play, and you're out of that inning. So it's an important pitch for him. I'm not sure it's had the same bite. It's hard for me to tell from here.
Joe, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And just as Joe takes off the headset, so do the umpires. And the run will count. That's got to be an anxious few minutes, though, I think, for both David Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez. That could have wound up working out a lot differently than it did for the Red Sox.
Yeah, this is a great look at it. You can definitely tell exactly when Headley hits the jersey with the glove, and it does look like Ortiz's foot is on home plate. But
I think they get lucky here, though, in the fact that
no doubt.
not going 100%.
Yeah.
And they could have gotten burned.
So one issue is Ortiz, the last few strides, not going 100%. If you're Hanley, are you busting it first to third? Are you checking the throw just to see what's happening? Where should you be looking?
Now, in hindsight, Hanley makes a mistake, because I think if he goes hard, he gets to 30, you know, easily. But he's also cognizant that Poppy's running and trying to score, so he doesn't want to just automatically run into an out there at third base. So he's kind of trying to read when the throw is getting there.
And where the throw is going. When you saw him round second, I think that's when he kind of slowed down a little bit to kind of read the play in general.
When you've got a runner as slow as Ortiz is, aren't you almost better off if you're Hanley just to stop at second on that play with 2 outs, just to assure yourself that you get the run in?
Not necessarily, because sometimes even if you're going to be out at third, you almost want them to throw it to third, and you'll trade the run for the out.
There's a liner into right center, a base hit for Castro, except that he looked over his shoulder and then he accelerated towards third, and he actually got closer to Shaw as a result.
Well, because I think he got to a point where he thought, wow, I'm pretty far, and I think I'm going to be safe anyway, and now the throw's coming.
Castro with a leadoff base hit. Third time in 4 innings the Yankees have had the leadoff man aboard. So David Price had a little bit of an extra delay there, obviously, before this inning began, because that replay review, which happened between innings, but it took longer than your normal commercial break would. So Price had to wait it out for a bit, and now he faces Chase Headley, who had a base hit his first time up. Headley is still looking for his first extra base hit of the season. He did have a single his first time up. He's now hitting 164. 10 for 61. All 10 hits have been singles. And this is one of the mysteries so far for the Yankees, one of the problem areas, and he's not alone. A lot of guys are not swinging the bats very well right now. But they certainly expected more production than this. They signed him to a 4-year deal prior to last season. 4 years, $52 million. And Headley last year hit .259, 11 homers, 29 doubles, drove in 62 runs.
Well, the big question that the Yankees offense has been getting, and especially the last week, has been what adjustments are you making? How do you get this offense to start rolling? And one thing that I've noticed tonight that I hadn't seen in prior games for them is the fact that they've kind of shortened their swings. Minus the home run from Alex Rodriguez, they're setup guys. I mean, Alex's job is to go yard. His job is to take the big swing. But the Chase Headleys, the Starlin Castros, they got to be able to shorten up and put the ball in play. And when you talk about the hit previously that Castro just got, that's what he did.
Well, I think a key as we look at this replay is a changeup up in the strike zone, and actually probably a good pitch for Headley to drive there and maybe getting that first extra base hit, but it's a little late. Price gets away with a bit of a mistake there on a 2-1 count.
2-2 just outside. You can see Vasquez tried to bring it back over the outside corner, but to no avail, and the count is full.
But I think a key for the Yankees is getting Ellsbury and Gardner going, because when they're playing at their best, they're getting on base a ton. Their speed obviously comes into play, and now all of a sudden they get pitchers in trouble for a dangerous part of their middle of the order and their power. Those two guys really are going to potentially key a turnaround if this team's going to get going.
Come on out to the ballpark on May 14th and 15th for Major League Baseball's first annual Play Ball Weekend, proudly supported by Chevrolet and Scott's. For more information on Play Ball Weekend activities and to get your tickets, visit MLB.com/tickets. Leadoff man aboard for the Yankees, that's Castro. Full count on Headley. And a high fly ball, really a pop-up back of second. Backpedaling is Pedroia. He'll make the catch for the first out. Castro back to the bag at first, and the batter now will be Aaron Hicks, spelling Carlos Beltran for a night in right field. Hicks coming over in an offseason deal with Minnesota. Has a very strong arm, is a switch hitter, can play all 3 outfield spots. It gives them some versatility as a backup outfielder. Has yet to get going with a bat. 2 for 24 on the season. We mentioned the shoulder injury that kept him out most of the last week. The non-throwing shoulder. Swing and a miss.
And guys, we still haven't seen the velocity return for David Price. Been typically 90, 91, 92 with the fastball. It returned in the middle and later innings against Atlanta. All the more important that he then locates the ball in. He's got to get the ball in if he's not throwing as hard, because then a mistake out over the plate can turn into what A-Rod did with it.
Just misses down and in.
And that might be the first 93 we've actually seen from him. But first inning or two, he was getting the ball to the inside corner. These last couple of innings, he hasn't commanded that glove side. Something that's usually a real weapon for him.
Shakes off Vasquez a couple of times, now settles on the pitch. And the 1-1. 1-2 now the count on Hicks. Well, first year in a Red Sox uniform for David Price, signed a 7-year contract for $217 million, $31 million a year. This is your Mount Rushmore of pitchers' contracts right here, with Price, Kershaw, Scherzer, and Greinke. All of them, of course, incredibly successful in their careers. 2 of them pitched really well today. Max Scherzer went 7 shutout innings, picked up a win for Washington. And Clayton Kershaw had himself an afternoon against San Diego. A 3-hit shutout, didn't walk a batter, struck out 14, and drove in the only run of the ballgame on a base hit. Here's a chopper to short, shovel to second one, on to first, not in time. Kershaw and Scherzer, just a couple of the aces who pitched on a Sunday that was full of aces, including David Price here tonight. Madison Bumgarner got the Giants a big win against the Mets. Noah Syndergaard taking the loss. We talked about Chris Sale a little bit earlier. Didn't get deep into the game. Pitch count got up, but he picked up the win and is now 6-0. Cole Hamels, a no decision in his effort for Texas against the Angels, and Marcus Stroman, 8 innings, 1 run allowed as the Blue Jays beat Tampa Bay 5-1. Like, I know it's San Diego and the Padres are struggling to score and all that, but still, Kershaw,
Yeah.
he's just at a whole other level sometimes.
And picking up the bat. How many times have we seen that in the close games?
There's another ground ball to short, and that'll end the inning as Torreyes bounces into the fielder's choice. We're going bottom 4 here at Fenway, having fun, and the Red Sox leading 4-3. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. Dan Schulman, Jessica Mendoza, Aaron Boone, Buster Olney, Buster's Umbrella, and the rain here at Fenway Park tonight. The Red Sox up 4-3 going to the bottom of the 4th, trying to sweep the Yankees, who have lost 4 in a row. They sit in the basement of the American League East right now at 8-14. The Red Sox at the moment tied for the top spot with the Orioles, who lost earlier today to the White Sox. Both Boston and Baltimore at 14-10. Christian Vasquez leads off the inning for the Red Sox. The Yankees are headed to Chicago to start a series with the White Sox on Tuesday. The Red Sox are headed to Baltimore for a big series. And then these two teams, Yankees and Red Sox, will meet again next weekend in the Bronx. We'll have the Sunday nighter for you 1 week from tonight. It's a division where, at least at the before the season began, you could probably make a pretty fair case for any one of the 5 teams having a really good year, and you might be able to make a case for any one of the 5 teams struggling and finishing below 500. Baltimore's gotten off to a good start. The defending division champs, the Blue Jays, have not gotten off to a good start, although they just took 2 out of 3 from Tampa Bay. Boston right now is feeling pretty good at 14-10. With Carson Smith, a reliever on the DL, supposed to rejoin the team Tuesday in Chicago. Eduardo Rodriguez will likely be back within 2 weeks, as Vasquez hits a bouncer to second, and he is retired 1 down. It's been an interesting first month around baseball. Here on the 1st of May, let's check out some of the big stories in April. The Cubs closed with a 17-6 record. That's after the loss today. And how good are things in Chicago right now? North side and south side. The White Sox, led by Chris Sale, are 18-8, and Bryce Harper and the Nationals are 17-7. And in the league, in the National League East, those are three great stories. But I'm not sure the most, and they all deserve a ton of attention. Three teams playing very well. The White Sox, I think, a surprise, as Bradley goes the other way in the left center for a base hit. But is there a bigger story or a bigger surprise in baseball than the Philadelphia Phillies being 15-10 right now? They won again today.
15-10, and they got swept opening series in Cincinnati. So, yeah, that's a great story. And that's one of the teams that feels like a sleeping giant, because they're going to be flush with money over the next couple of years. You know they're going to be willing to spend it. And yet they've made some really savvy moves to inject some talent back into their organization. And we've seen some of that young pitching talent really flourish here the first month.
They just swept the Indians. They won 6 in a row. They're coming off a sweep before that at Washington. They're 8-2 in one-run games. They're pitching well. They're winning a lot of close games.
And when we watch them play, they exemplify how much fun it is to play with not having a target on your back. I mean, you look at a lot of the teams that have expectations coming into the season. The White Sox were not one of them. That's why they're playing so well. You look at the Phillies, and the reason why, I mean, no one still is really talking about them. And when you watch them play, they're having fun. I mean, they're enjoying it. And that, to me, is why they win the close games.
Jackie Bradley at first with 1 out for the Red Sox here in the bottom of the 4th. Back to the top of the order for Mookie Betts, who is 1 for 2. Betts singled and scored in the first, grounded out in the third. Considering the weather, and it was raining pretty hard between about 7 o'clock and 8:30 local time here. They got a pretty good turnout. Everybody looked at the forecast. They knew what they were up against. Okay, we need 3 of those now. Maybe 6.
Pickles?
No.
Mustard?
No pickles, yes.
For me. Booney? Ketchup?
Mustard.
Bradley's got some speed. We mentioned that Eovaldi is tough to run on. The Red Sox have had a lot of success running so far this year. They're 21 out of 23. The Boston Red Sox have a stolen base percentage of better than 90%, lead the American League in steals. Now to play 2-2.
Well, and even when they're not stealing now, there's so many athletes sprinkled throughout their lineup that the threat of the steal comes into play. And we've seen Eovaldi already throw a ball away at first. He's got a very quick move to first, but it impacts sometimes because you want to be a little quicker to home plate, and it's going to, over time, net these hitters more mistakes because of the speed threat on the bases.
Here's the 2-2. And a roller to short. To second one, on to first. Not in time. Betts with good speed. Aboard on a fielder's choice.
You know, let's take a look at Nathan Eovaldi. Something I've noticed with him, watch his front leg really lock. And I think this is something that holds him back just a little bit in really having elite command. Because when you lock your front leg like that, you can't get out in front and really finish. So some of your fastball command is going to tend to be up. You know, think about it in terms of if you're throwing darts or something, you have a little give in that leg and you can kind of get out, and it allows you to be a little more accurate. That's something that holds him back from really having elite command in the strike zone outing after outing.
He's going to face Dustin Pedroia now. Pedroia is 2 for 2, a couple of base hits to right field. And is that just kind of like anything else? It's just the way he grew up throwing as a kid, and it becomes your natural motion?
I think it probably does. I think it's kind of rare because most pitchers will always have that little give in the front leg. It's something I've talked over the years with Kurt Schilling about and when you have a little bend in that front leg, it just allows you to have, gives you a better chance of having elite command. And while Eovaldi throws a lot of strikes, sometimes those strikes aren't exactly where he wants, and that's where he can get into trouble sometimes.
Pedroia has shot the ball through the right side twice. 0-2 the count here.
Another look at that front leg. It just kind of locks. Most pitchers will stay with some bend in there. He locks it out, and sometimes it keeps him from getting over that front leg and finishing pitches in the proper way and allow that ball to sail up on him.
And Pedroia is 3 for 3. All 3 hits to right field. Now the ball is juggled by Hicks in right, and taking advantage and taking third on the play is Betts.
How about Dustin Pedroia? I mean, this last couple weeks for him, he's been on fire, and he's been doing it so much with his top hand, going opposite field. This is the 3rd hit he's had tonight, almost same part of the field. Watch him just take his top hand and go opposite. And Mookie Betts paying attention. And remember, this ball is behind him, and watch him turn, look, watch. And as soon as he sees Aaron Hooks bobble it, he takes off. Now, I think Hicks almost had a shot at him at third base if Headley's able to hold on to this, just because he's got the throw. But Betts heads up base running now. We've seen twice from these Red Sox.
Error charge to Hicks on the play. The 5th 3-hit game of the season already for Dustin Pedroia. That's the most in the big leagues. 1st and 3rd, 2 down for Xander Bogaerts as the Red Sox look to extend the lead. Bogaerts 1 for 2. Fielder's choice and an RBI in the 1st, base hit, and he scored a run in the 3rd. And should the inning continue, David Ortiz would be next. And a chopper to second. Waiting for it, Castro, and the inning is over. The Red Sox will leave a couple of men on. End of 4. Boston up 4-3. ESPN, the Red Sox up 4-3 on the Yankees. Between innings, our Buster Olney with the Red Sox manager John Farrell.
John, Dustin Pedroia, 3 hits tonight, 5 3-hit games so far this season. What do you see in him this year compared to last year?
You know, first of all, Buster, he's healthy. You know, his hands, his wrists, hamstring, all that's behind him. I think the biggest thing is he's using the whole field, much like tonight with a couple of base hits here.
See, the rain is basically stopped now, but early in this game, how did you see David Price adapt to the conditions?
You know, there's no doubt the conditions here can probably have a little effect on both guys. It's hard to get a grip on the ball, probably a little bit slick. A couple of mislocated pitches that he ended up having to pay for, but hopefully it holds off here the rest of the way.
John, thanks.
Our thanks to John Farrell. Just 51 pitches thrown by Price through 4. Austin Romine, the number 9 hitter, will lead it off for the Yankees in the 5th.
And the biggest thing, Dan, that we haven't seen from David Price is the strikeout. And that's something, I mean, he's leading the American League with 46 Ks coming into this game, and we haven't seen that. And Booney, you alluded to it earlier, him being able to get inside especially these right-handed batters, allows him to set up all his secondary pitches, which are his swing and miss pitches.
After Romine, Ellsbury, and Gardner, 4-3 Red Sox out hitting the Yankees 8-6. How about Rich Hill? 41 strikeouts already for Oakland.
Picking up right where he left off last year. Dominated
Boston.
at the end of the year here in Boston.
Yep.
Went and had an awful spring, and people were thought, okay, yeah, that little flash in the pan for a couple months, but he has been, and as a result, one of the reasons why Oakland's kind of hanging in there as a surprise in the West.
And Drew Smyly won't get a lot of headlines pitching down in Tampa as Romine strikes out, but he's terrific as well. Now let's go back between innings. Right before Buster was going to interview John Farrell, David Ortiz came over and he said, hang on a sec, your tie's a little crooked, let me help you out.
Love it.
If only Ortiz could learn to relax a little bit during the game.
He's so serious,
Yeah.
so serious.
Yeah, he even got Buster to smile. That's hard to do.
Now, before John Farrell started that interview, he said he can do it all, can he?
There's Jacoby Ellsbury in a swing and a miss, 0-1. All right, Buster, I would not be a good friend of yours if I didn't mention tonight that you went to Vanderbilt and David Price went to Vanderbilt. And I know you want to talk about that at some point. So give me a Vanderbilt nugget.
You know, I never noticed, Dan, that David Price went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Like we never noticed your Vanderbilt hoodie at dinner last night.
Or on the field yesterday.
I just picked out the first thing on top. I didn't even notice.
You must have a Sonny Gray story. I know you got a Kurt Casale story for me.
Let's face it, there are a lot of secret handshakes going around.
And that one hits Ellsbury.
This is the pitch we talked about in the open that's been so key for Price. Being able to locate this pitch is a changeup that ends up nicking Ellsbury, but he's been able to locate that pitch in a way to set up these left-handed hitters and come back even with a front door cutter. But we just haven't seen the location, and that's been the difference for Price this game.
So 1-on-1 out. Here's Brett Gardner, a sacrifice and a ground out. Up and into Gardner.
Just trying to get this fastball in, up and in, and that kind of gets your attention as a hitter. Though it doesn't seem like maybe it's that close. You see that ball coming, and that's a wake-up call.
Inside again. Price, by the way, didn't, as Jess mentioned, didn't strike out a batter in the first 4 innings tonight. The first time that has happened to him in a start since 2010. Struck out Romine here to begin the 5th. Hit Ellsbury. Now he's 2-0 on Gardner. And Ellsbury's keeping him occupied over at first.
This is rare to see with David Price. What makes him great is elite command with the fastball. He can pound the fastball and the cut fastball to both sides of the plate and dot it typically. His secondary pitches, kind of ordinary. And tonight we just haven't seen that pinpoint command with the fastball, kind of grinding out there a little bit.
Falls behind 3-0. On deck is Alex Rodriguez, who homered off Price his last time up. And he walked him on 4 pitches. So Price will get a visit from some of his teammates as A-Rod comes up.
And you watch the speed of the pitch, 93 miles per hour, 106 miles per hour launch speed off the bat of Alex. And look at the launch angle. And this is exactly how he's able to meet that high fastball, 27 degrees. No doubt about it, with that location and that angle, it's going out of here.
Second home run of the series, 5th of the season for Alex Rodriguez. 692. And if he stays healthy and has the kind of year he had last year, got a shot at passing Babe Ruth.
You know, we talked about David Ortiz and how smart he is. Same's true for Alex Rodriguez, and he understands right now that Price is having a hard time getting his fastball to the inside corner, a pitch that will beat Alex. He knows they want to do that to him, so he's ready for that heater, and that's why he was able to capitalize on a mistake in his last at bat. And that pitch right there, that's what they got him out with, his first at bat. And back in the first inning, when he was commanding the ball to the inside part of the plate, Alex knows this pitch is going to beat him. But if he makes a mistake on the plate with that pitch, he's in position to do some serious damage.
By the way, Friday night when A-Rod homered and Ortiz homered, the first game in Major League history when two players 40 or older for opposing teams both hit a home run in the same game. You would think that had happened at some point before, but it never had before Friday night.
40's a new 30. Ortiz is showing that. And Alex tonight.
It's the 200th game with Rodriguez and Ortiz playing against each other in the majors. They got to know each other way back when in the mid-90s in the Seattle organization. Of course, A-Rod started with the Mariners. Ortiz originally signed with the Mariners as well. This one is lifted down the right field line and out of play. I don't know if a lot of people know that he was originally in the Mariners organization, then broke into the big leagues as a member of the Minnesota Twins in 1997, and actually spent part of 6 seasons with the Twins before he was released by Minnesota. After the 2002 season, he was eligible for arbitration. The Twins were going to save some money, go with some other players. He came to Boston in 2003, but Rodriguez and Ortiz go back better than 20 years. One ball, 2 strikes the count. 2 on with a 1 out. In a game that is, right from the get-go, really been a typical Yankee Red Sox game. It is not moving quickly. There are some runs being scored. High fly ball to left center again. Did he get enough? It's in play for extra bases, and the Yankees are going to score a couple on a long double by Alex Rodriguez as they take the lead again. What a night for A-Rod.
I don't understand the pitch selection, because there's no doubt that Alex Rodriguez is looking for something out over the plate, and this is by design. They go to that outside corner. He doesn't quite get it there. It gets on the white part of the plate, but this is the pitch that Alex Rodriguez went up there to hit. He finally got it and got enough of it to drive it off the wall. I think a mistake there by Vasquez and Price to not try and go and nail that inside corner again.
And they did a great job earlier in this count of setting it up perfectly, but they went back away.
So the Yankees are back on top at 5-4. And here's Mark Teixeira to take a strike over the outside edge.
And the big thing too, Booney, is when you establish the inside, and you'll see here if they go in to Teixeira, it just further elevates that pitch for Price, his changeup away to these righties.
So Price has surrendered 5 runs tonight. 4 of them have been driven in by Alex Rodriguez, a homer in the 3rd and a double here in the 5th. And now Teixeira laces a ball into the left field corner. Rodriguez will come in to score. Teixeira with a long Fenway single, but it's 6-4 Yankees. And the crowd is getting some kind of restless. They saw Price pitch very well at Atlanta in his last start, but the last time they saw him here, He got roughed up by Tampa Bay to the tune of 8 earned runs in 3 2/3. Tonight, it's 6 earned runs in 4 1/3.
Well, Jesse just tries to steal a strike here with a little changeup out over the plate. This thing drifts right in the heart of the plate and up. And Teixeira just kind of yanks it down the line. But Price just is, since that first inning, really, where he was commanding the ball in. There you see the changeup. Vasquez kind of leaned back over the middle of the plate, and Teixeira just rips it down the left field line.
And that's a pitch you usually see kind of run away from the right.
Yes.
It kind of just goes down and away from the bat, and it just kind of stays, which we've seen with location for Price versus his last start when he got those 14 Ks against Atlanta. He was locating and he was getting that late action.
He's searching for answers here tonight. Nobody throwing yet in the Red Sox pen. This is the 4th start at home this year for David Price, and 3 of them have not been good. The only good one was one against Toronto on April the 16th, 7 innings, 2 runs. The other 3 against Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and now the Yankees have gone very poorly. He's given up 19 earned runs in 13 innings in those other 3 starts here at home. So even when you put the good one in against Toronto, he's given up 21 earned runs in 20 innings at home this year. And now there will be some activity. Right-hander Heath Hembree is up in the pen for the Red Sox. Here's a broken bat roller towards third. Bat went further than ball as Castro is thrown out. Teixeira takes second.
And there's a good example at when he does locate in there. That's when he's at his best. But really, for the better part of the last 3+ innings, he just hasn't been able to locate to this side of the plate. That ball's perfectly located and blows up the bat and gets a lazy out to stop the bleeding a little bit here in the 5th. Yeah, let's get a little collect some of that, build us a little fire up here, warm us up a bit.
Well,
might be frowned upon up here.
It might be frowned upon, yeah.
The electronics.
Yeah.
Got to stop whining.
There's Chase Headley, and that's a foul ball.
We'll make you a little fire, Buster.
Down there in your fort.
No, I'm good here. I just don't want to hear whining from up there.
He's from Arizona, Buster. Well, he lives in Arizona. He's from California. Everything's working against you.
I'm always cold.
You're always cold.
I won't tell anyone that you got your long johns on tonight.
Hey, I'm not the only one who does up here. 2 of the 3 of us did it, my friend. Now who's feeling silly? 2 of the 3 of us are fine. One of us is complaining a little bit.
I got a heater down by me.
Yeah, you do have your own heater. Jess and I are sharing over here. Alex Rodriguez has been hot tonight. A 2-run homer, a 2-run double. It's a 6-4 lead for the Yankees here in the top of the 5th. And a swing and a miss by Headley to win the inning. But the Yankees score 3. They're back on top 6-4. David Ortiz is going to lead it off, and Aaron's going to bring us his boondoggle, doing a little Big Papi impersonation when we come back. The winner was by fan balloting was David Ortiz. So Aaron got out on the field before the game and showed us his best Big Papi. Aaron, how hard was this for you? How much work did this take?
This took a little work because this isn't one of my natural ones, so I had to learn Big Papi a little bit. We'll see how I did.
I think you're doing great so far.
I love how serious he is. Oh, yeah.
The toss is good.
Yes. That is awesome.
This is the best part. That's the best part.
Well, you're a little down on.
I'm a little down, and as you know, I have the utmost respect for you on so many different levels.
And rightfully so. I didn't take my top hand off.
He's a one-hand finisher.
And I actually thought I did.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you go lefty. Just throws you off completely.
I'm excited for next week. If it turns out the way I think it's going to turn out.
Hey, don't try and influence voting.
All right.
I loved it. I didn't see the top hand, and I loved the flip. The flip to me, like, oh, that was awesome. And it's not easy. You take it seriously, too, and I like it.
Ortiz has struck out and walked and scored tonight. Yankees back on top after a 3-run top of the 5th. 6 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors. For the Yankees, 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Red Sox. Yankees trying to salvage the final game of the series. The shift is on, of course, against Ortiz, something that Joe Girardi has said he doesn't like, but as long as it's legal, he'll use it. And they actually use it the 3rd most often of any team in baseball. And if you're going to use it against anybody, this is the kind of guy you're going to use it against. But Girardi got some headlines, got some attention earlier in the week when he said he doesn't think it should be legal. It's not the way the game is supposed to be played. He thinks the field was designed for 2 on the left side, 2 on the right side. Made a basketball analogy about illegal defense and so forth. Ortiz, again, you would figure would have the green light, 3-0. Wow. He was going for that red seat where Ted Williams hit a home run way up in the right field bleachers.
Well, there's another example of Eovaldi going to that slider when he's behind in the count to get a strike. And Papi thought that was going to be a fastball up and out over the plate. Just a little subtle break down and in really fooled him. And it looked like it almost hurt him a little bit. It was an uncomfortable swing on a 3-1 pitch for Papi.
He's waiting patiently for Eovaldi to get back on the rubber. Eovaldi at 82 pitches as he works on Ortiz here in the 5th inning. Lashed into right field, a base hit. Now, just to tie up some loose ends, next week the boondoggle will be, depending on who you, the viewers, vote for. You have 2 choices. We'll be in the Bronx. It'll be the Red Sox and the Yankees again. So we're going into the Wayback Machine. Will it be Fred Lynn, who's here in the ballpark tonight, incidentally? 1975 American League Rookie of the Year and MVP, former Red Sox great, or will it be one of Aaron's timeless classics? One of the first ones that he ever had the courage to bring out in public. Dave Winfield.
Don't sway the boats.
That was swaying?
If that's a timeless classic.
There's Fred Lynn. Still looks like. Look how good he looks.
Yeah, I know.
He looks great. That's some San Diego living right there.
Yeah, it is.
Looks like he was imitating his own swing.
I think we should mention, and again, this is not swing. I'm just delivering information, which is my job, that Dave Winfield tweeted at you about this, right?
He did.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
Wanted to know how the voting was going.
Well, then tell Dave, tweet back at Dave Winfield, tell him to vote for himself.
That's right. Or if he wants to see Fred Lynn.
0-2, the count on Hanley Ramirez. Dave Winfield says, let me know who they voted for. At Dave Winfield, HOF. Not everybody can put an HOF at the end of their Twitter name. That was for last week when he lost to Ortiz. But he's back in there again against Fred Linden. Chop foul by Ramirez.
He's got my vote. I'm swaying.
I've swayed you? Sorry, Fred.
I just want to see the classic, the original.
Oh, it's a good one.
The first he ever imitated when this all started, this magic of boondoggle that we've now created every week.
He's got an umpire strike call too that we haven't unleashed on America yet, but it's really good. We won't say who, right? But it's really good. Ortiz at first. Here to lead off the bottom of the fifth, 6-4 Yankees, and Ramirez will take inside. Ramirez a pop up and a 2-run single tonight. Aaron, you've been talking about Hanley's setup and seeing some changes in him in recent days.
Yeah, it feels to me like he's getting closer to where he wants to be. And talking to Chili Davis, they've really worked on engaging his top hand in his swing. Can get under some balls.
Chopper left side to second one, and no play back at first.
And what they mean by getting his top hand involved, Jess, it helps a little bit with his posture. He felt like he's getting under balls with his bottom hand too much and popping some balls up that he shouldn't. As here we look at a little Chopper where he's a little bit beat. But what I don't know if concerned is the right word, but I want to see him with the new stance and the new start get his timing better. And I feel like that's where he struggled a little bit here early in the season, even though he's off to a pretty productive start actually. But I think he's been a little bit late at times getting into hitting position, and as a result he hasn't walked a lot yet. He's been striking out.
Travis Shaw hits a rocket down the right field line for a home run. A 2-run shot deep into the seats in right to tie the game at 6. There is some thunder in that young man's bat.
We've seen throughout this game Eovaldi try to start hitters off early in counts with his curveball, a pitch he does not use a lot throughout the game, but he uses it early in the count. You see him go to it here. Travis Shaw not fooled at all. He's had 2 strikeouts this game on a fastball and a split finger fastball, and he's sitting on this breaking ball and just crushes it to right field.
Hooked it around the pesky pole. 3rd home run of the season for Shaw. The game is tied again.
One of the big scouting reports the Red Sox talked about Eovaldi, besides the split finger, was the fact be prepared for that curveball in an 0-0 count. Be prepared for it early.
Guys, it's something we've seen more and more in Major League Baseball is a first pitch curveball, because many pitchers feel like they can steal a strike for it. And it's true. But this is a great example of the Boston Red Sox.
Headley, tricky hop back to his feet, throws out Holt.
Well, this is a great play by Chase Headley, who really struggled defensively last year with the Yankees, but the former Gold Glover has been much more solid, playing a real good third base so far this year. That is kind of a do or die play right there. You're playing in, respecting the bunt, showing a little range, and you can't do anything but get to the in-between hop. You just kind of fire your hands at it. He sticks it and turns in an outstanding play.
Gold Glove Award winner with the Padres in 2012, had a very difficult year defensively last year, committing 23 errors. Here's Vasquez with a roller to short, and that'll end the inning. But not before Travis Shaw goes deep. And at the end of 5, it's all tied at 6. Taco Bell. We go to the top of the 6th in a somewhat typical Yankee Red Sox game, maybe more going back a few years, but it is 6-6 going to the 6th. Better than 2 hours to play 5 innings. Bottom third of the order for the Yankees. David Price still in the game for Boston. And Aaron Hicks is out in front, swings through it, and the count is 0-1. Hicks is 0 for 2 tonight. He'll be followed by Ronald Torreyes and then Austin Romine. Beltran, Gregorius, McCann all getting a night off tonight. Price has not been able to handle Alex Rodriguez tonight. A 2-run homer and a 2-run double for A-Rod. Red Sox will wind up at the end of the night either a half game ahead of the Orioles or a half game behind the Orioles for top spot in the American League East. And they're headed to Baltimore to begin a 3-game series on Tuesday night. 0-2. Tomorrow night on Monday Night Baseball, the Chicago Cubs will be in Pittsburgh. Top 2 teams in the National League Central collide at 7 Eastern time. Then it'll be the Red Sox taking on the Chicago White Sox, off to a great start this season. That is Wednesday Night Baseball at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we'll have the Red Sox and Yankees from the Bronx 1 week from tonight. Mentioned Chris Sale got the win a little earlier today. He is now 6-0 on the season. As you can see, the rain has started falling again. It was pretty heavy at the beginning of the night, then it subsided. Now it's starting up again. There's a liner to left field, and on comes Brock Holt to make the play and deny Hicks.
This is all about the read. Brock Holt immediately understands this ball is diving and diving fast, so he dives with it, but his first few steps are coming in. He doesn't misread it, and he knows how to follow the ball. A lot of outfielders might try to stay on their feet and just get their glove below it, but he gets down with the ball as it goes.
There's Torreyes. How good is Holt, considering the last 2 years he's played 7 different positions each year, everything except pitcher and catcher, and really the Red Sox envisioned him again this year, some second, some third, some outfield, wherever they need him, wherever there's a hole to fill. But then when Rusney Castillo had such a bad spring, they ended up sending him down. Holt is now platooning out in the outfield with Chris Young, and as the left-handed batter, Holt's getting the vast majority of the at-bats, and I mean, he looks like he's been a regular outfielder for years.
And he takes pride in it. He plays, to me, it's not even just infield and outfield. It's different sides of the field, which is different reads on the ball.
Well, the Yankees are squaring up Price here this inning, but they're finding gloves.
And I was watching Brock Holt actually Friday, the last time they were taking BP on the field. He was out there maneuvering himself all over the field. Well, David Price was playing shortstop, which I thought was pretty funny as a lefty. He was taking it pretty seriously. But Brock Holt, I mean, he knows that he's going to play a multitude of positions, and he uses BP as a time to take those reads.
2 down in the inning on a line shot to left and then a line drive to third, and now here's Romine to take a strike. Six in the 6th. The Red Sox looking to sweep.
A little cut fastball trying to get it to that inside corner, and Romine trying to beat him to the punch, just pounds it off the top of his foot.
On a cold night, that's got to feel even worse than it does normally. Junichi Tozawa is now getting up in the Red Sox pen. Poked foul. Two down, 2 strikes. And the inning is over. To the bottom of the 6th in a 6-6 tie here at Fenway. Every ballpark for every game. Visit MLB.com/tickets today. Get some great seats, get some popcorn, dress for the weather, come out, do some dancing, and enjoy some baseball. Even if it doesn't happen to be in the park with the team that you're rooting for. We go bottom 6. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. to lead it off. 6-6 tie here at Fenway. And Bradley 1 for 2 on the night and has been on a tear, as we mentioned, the last 8 games or so.
The biggest difference, and we've even seen tonight, him being able to go opposite field. And it's interesting talking to these hitters, and you think about this ballpark, that green monster in left field. Usually, assuming that this would be the park that right-handed hitters would absolutely love because that wall is so close. But these Red Sox hitters talk about the left-handed success. Jackie Bradley Jr., Travis Shaw, they talk about the fact that because it's opposite field, it keeps their swing more true. He sees that that wall is that close. And instead of wanting, what do hitters want to do? They want to pull the ball. For him, it forces him to think about going opposite field. And it keeps his swing more consistent. And that's what we've seen from him with the 2 triples and double last night, with him being able to line out to left field tonight, get a nice easy base hit. Travis Shaw told me this weekend that the best thing that ever happened to him, you see they switch places on the shift right now, but he said the best thing that ever happened to him as a hitter was being able to play here at Fenway. And the numbers show it.
A lot of left-handed batters have had a ton of success here at Fenway. Left-handed batters who are members of the Red Sox. If you look at some of the most significant hitters in Red Sox history, a lot of them happen to have been left-handed batters. Now, this is more than just the monster. We get that, but Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski, Wade Boggs, and by the way, David Ortiz all have significantly higher batting averages here at Fenway, and all have way more doubles here at Fenway than they did on the road. Wade Boggs, for anybody old enough to remember his incredible run of batting titles and year after year when he was here as a member of the Red Sox. While he was with Boston, he had 141 doubles on the road. He had 281 doubles at home. basically twice as many doubles at home as he did on the road. And Aaron, wouldn't you say 3/4 of them went off that monster?
No doubt about it. And to Jess's point, and you hear people all the time talk about usually when a guy's locked in, usually they're hitting the ball the other way or they're using the entire field. And as a left-handed hitter, this ballpark invites you to hit the ball the other way.
Joe Girardi's made the change. Nathan Eovaldi walks the first man he faces here in the 6th. Ivan Nova is on his way in from the bullpen. Brought to you by John Deere. Nathan Eovaldi just left the ball game. 5 innings plus 1 batter, 6 earned runs. David Price has given up 6 earned runs as well through 6. So a tough night for both starters.
Well, in his last outing, the split-fingered fastball was so good for Nathan Eovaldi, but tonight just wasn't getting the chases in the dirt that he got so much against Texas in his last start. The Red Sox were patient. They made him get the ball up, and that's where they were able to do some of their damage tonight. And end Eovaldi's tonight having given up 6 runs.
Ivan Nova lost out to CC Sabathia for the 5th starting spot for the New York Yankees, so he is now working as a long reliever for New York, and he comes in here with Bradley at first, nobody out, bottom of the 6th in a tie game. The batter is Mookie Betts. Betts is 1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored back in the 1st inning.
Commanding that 2-seam fastball for Nova is a key for him. Fastball, curveball is his #1 secondary pitch, occasional change, but you'll see the run on the fastball that he sometimes has trouble commanding in the strike zone.
Well hit ball to right field. Hicks backing up, has room, and makes the catch for out #1. Now Dustin Pedroia's had himself a pretty good night.
John Farrell said it to Buster Olney earlier, is the fact that he's been able to use the entire field. Look at the way that he's able to do it with different locations of pitches in the zone. He'll kind of step open with that front foot, but he gets his top hand. And when he was injured last season, this is what he was not able to do. And this has been Dustin Pedroia over the last 2 weeks. He's been on fire, but the big reason why, he's using that right field when he hits.
17 of his 35 hits this year have been to the opposite field, including the 3 tonight. And he's raised his average from 311 to 330 on the strength of a 3 for 3 night.
I mean, all 3 of those pitches he's hit tonight, all over the plate.
Yeah.
1 in, 1 over the middle, and 1 up and away.
I mean, classic Dustin Pedroia would have totally pulled that pitch. I mean, he would have pulled away pitches.
Going the opposite way again. Hicks coming over near the line, makes the catch. Nice sliding catch by Hicks, and again Bradley back to first.
Well, really good play by Hicks there. He gets a great jump on this ball. Again, Pedroia going the other way with the ball, hits it pretty well. They want to go down and away with the fastball. There's that run over the heart of the plate. A little inside out, but Hicks with a great break on the ball with the sliding catch out there in right field. And Hicks, remember, filling the role of Chris Young, who was so valuable for the Yankees last year against left-handed pitching. He's a guy they want to get going because he brings value defensively and offensively, and Nova appreciative of the effort.
So 2 down in the inning, and now here's Xander Bogaerts, 1 for 3. Scored a run, driven in a run, takes down and away ball 1.
Although Jackie Bradley doesn't do a lot of running here with 2 outs, Xander Bogaerts up. This might be a time where maybe you try and get a jump over there and try and get into scoring position for Bogaerts.
That's what Nova's thinking about. Ortiz on deck should the inning continue. Ground ball left side. Torres, long throw and not nearly in time. That'll be an infield hit for Bogaerts. And that'll bring up David Ortiz in his final year as a big leaguer. Off to a great start, over 500 home runs in his career. He's got 5 of them this season. Hitting over 300 right now. Seems to be enjoying every moment of this. They love him here with good reason. Been with Boston since 2003 and 2 home runs away from tying the great Carl Yastrzemski for the 2nd most home runs ever hit in a Red Sox uniform. And he's got some pretty impressive numbers against Ivan Nova. 10 for 25, a .400 average with a couple of home runs. Two on with 2 out in this tie game here on this cold, drizzly night in Boston. Runner breaks from second and in there without a throw, with Headley playing well off the line. Bradley just took advantage and he steals third.
Well, not of huge consequence with David Ortiz at the plate and 2 outs, but now you might even be inclined to, with the great numbers that Ortiz has against you, and a 2-0 count here, certainly not a time you're going to give in with the righty on deck.
2-0. Popped it up a mile high on the infield. Teixeira down the line in foul territory will make the catch, and Ortiz knows he missed one. Red Sox leave a couple of men on. The Union Oyster House, a national historic landmark located on the Freedom Trail near Faneuil Hall. It's the oldest restaurant in Boston. It started serving food back in 1826. Welcome back to Fenway Park. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. Dan Schulman, Jessica Mendoza, Aaron Boone, and Buster Olney. And David Price back out for the 7th on this chilly 1st of May. Tied at 6 here as the Red Sox try to sweep the Yankees. The Yankees trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. It has not been easy for Price, especially when Alex Rodriguez has been at the plate. Ellsbury, Gardner, and Rodriguez here in the 7th, although you'd be surprised if Price will face Rodriguez again. Tazawa's still up in the bullpen.
Ellsbury has had his number not just tonight, but coming into this game. Very comfortable against the lefty, both sides of the plate.
So the 2 doubles tonight, also hit by a pitch. Now 23 for 65, a 354 lifetime average. With Tazawa ready to go for whenever he is summoned. Price tonight has struck out 3 batters. Didn't strike anybody out until the 5th. Struck out a career high tying 14 in his last start at Atlanta. Been a much different story here tonight against a team that was really struggling to score runs coming in. Ellsbury foul. Nice grab.
Oh, hum.
She's playing it cool, huh? Not even a smile.
Obviously a softball player. A little drop step.
He'll calmly get off the bucket, make a play, flip a souvenir.
Nice. All in a night's work.
And she's freezing. She's freezing.
Yeah. Too cold to smile. One, 2. Misses inside.
We've seen now a couple of lefty on lefty changeups where Price has shook and shook and shook and finally gotten it a couple times to Ellsbury. He hit him with it in his last at bat and now breaks it out here. Not something you see a lot, but because of the ownership that Ellsbury's had.
A pop-up for Pedroia. Follow live baseball with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablets. Brett Gardner, the batter.
There's Torey Lovello and John Farrell probably talking a little bit of strategy there. And with Alex Rodriguez on deck, the righty, Tazawa getting up, you wonder if this is potentially David Price's last hitter. I think if Gardner reaches base, they definitely go to Tazawa. But maybe at 91 pitches, if he's able to get Gardner, I think maybe they stick with him.
Gardner has had a sacrifice. He's grounded out and he's walked and scored in this game. Here's the 0-1 from Price. Jam shot, pop-up foul over the third base dugout. Yankees 6 and the Red Sox 6. Each team scored 3 runs in the third. At the end of 3, it was 4-3 Boston, but then Alex Rodriguez with a 2-run double, keying a 3-run 5th, giving the Yankees the lead, only to see the Red Sox come back in the bottom of the 5th on a home run by Travis Shaw to tie it. Missing inside. There's that front door cutter you were talking about off the top of the show, Jess.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful pitch when he, honestly, even if he doesn't get it for a strike, you think about 0-2 where he comes, he throws it right at the front hip. and then it comes back. He liked to come back over the plate. Look at Vasquez. This is where he usually gets this call. Look at that minimal movement trying to set up that pitch.
Now the 1-2. And a ground ball for Pedroia for out number 2. And now we'll see what John Farrell has in mind with A-Rod coming up next. And A-Rod will back away from the plate because John Farrell is on his way to the mound. Hasn't made a move yet. And he's going to leave him.
Well, the reason why they're debating is because Alex Rodriguez tonight, 4 RBIs. First on this 2-run home run, and then a double that almost looks to do the same, missing it by a few feet. Swinging the bat well, taking advantage of anything left over the plate that Price has had. But I think the reason they leave him in is I think David Price knows he can still get him. We talked about it. If he can get inside on the hands. Right there of Alex Rodriguez.
That's what he was able to do in the first at bat against Rodriguez, where he retired him. The last 2, Alex has gotten him on the plate and done damage.
Missing inside with a cutter, a ball and a strike.
A couple more reasons why they left him in. They just gave him $200 million and it's April.
Well played, Buster.
It is May, Buster, but your point is well taken.
Earn your money.
Coming in again. Right there for a strike, 1 and 2. The shift on again against A-Rod. Homer double, 4 RBIs tonight. The noisiest they've been just about all night right now. Missed by a couple of inches.
And I love the discipline of Alex Rodriguez. He has not offered at one of these. A couple of them have caught the corner, but he realizes that's a pitch that he's going to get beat with. If he can do that 3 times, you tip your cap. Right now, he's looking for something he can drive, and that's out over the plate.
Do they stay in?
Yes.
No, going away and missing away with a cutter, 3 and 2.
I like it though, changing the eye level, getting something away so that you can come back inside.
And you're right. That's all that was we're going to waste one out there and show you just a change, just a setup coming right back in.
100 pitches for Price. Full count on Alex Rodriguez. Pedroia has it. Inning over. Price gets the Yankees in order. 7th inning stretch. Tie game. Phillies. The Red Sox looking for the sweep. Alex Rodriguez with other ideas. A 2-run homer and a 2-run double. Travis Shaw with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 5th, tying the game at 6. It is still tied at 6 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. If you like this, you'll like this. Coming up tomorrow night, Monday Night Baseball. The team with the best record in all of baseball, the Chicago Cubs. 17-6, best percentage in baseball. They'll take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Wednesday Night Baseball, the Chicago White Sox. They get the best record in the American League. They'll host the Red Sox, and we'll have the Red Sox and the Yankees a week from tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. Well, some news around baseball in the last couple of weeks. 2 players testing positive for PEDs, for performance-enhancing drugs. Chris Colabello of the Blue Jays last week. D. Gordon of the Marlins this week. Both given 80-game suspensions. D. Gordon especially, one of the smaller, thinnest guys really in baseball. And that one seemed to come out of the blue. Both players deny knowingly it being in their systems. Colabello appealed. It was denied. Gordon thought about appealing, then dropped the appeal. When these stories came out, what came to mind for you guys?
Disappointment, because you get 2 not only really good players, and in D. Gordon's case, a star player, but guys that are recognized as really good guys.
Terrific guys. Yep.
And you hear the denials and the unknowing and all this. You'd like to see them lay out, well, why is it unknowing? Give me all the things you are taking. Take me through a day in the life of what you do, and maybe we can get to the bottom if it truly is unknowing.
Hanley Ramirez with a liner to right field, but Hicks is there.
I feel like there is so much gray area, and I think that's the hardest part. And I know even as an Olympic athlete, we were tested all the time. And I have a hard time with the unknown of what's in your body. I mean, I couldn't take Sudafed. I didn't take vitamins because I was worried about what the company was making other than the vitamins. That's how small. And granted, the testing is different.
I think what's interesting is, where does this go now? Because a lot of players are outraged. And remember, during this latest basic agreement, the players kind of unprecedentedly, by their pushing it, took this thing from 50 to 80 games. And now you've heard players sounding off. Doolittle out in Oakland saying, hey, we want to make this even tougher, make it even more of a deterrent than it already is. Verlander has come on.
Tell us some of the things, well, you told us. Tell everybody some of the things you told us heading into the Olympics about some of the things you had to do to comply with the testing.
I mean, they could show up at any point. I mean, they came to my son's pediatric appointment. They came to Denny's when I was eating dinner. You had to put, 10 hours a day where you would be, and they could show up.
Shaw lines one past a diving to Sharon. He's got himself a base hit. So you had to tell them where you were all the time, and they had the right to show up at any time and test you.
And it was,
they walked into a Denny's.
It scared you. Oh, yeah. And it felt like the cops were showing up, like you were in trouble. I mean, imagine sitting there with my 2-year-old at the time, and we're at the pediatrician, and all of a sudden this crew of 4 or 5 people come in, and they've got to get you to pee in a cup. And it was intimidating, and it put fear in you to where you knew what was going to be in your body.
In Major League Baseball now, you have to, in the offseason, you have to alert people of where you are every couple of weeks. One offseason, early on in the testing, I remember I got a call and said, we're coming over this afternoon, and it was weird. They came to the front door, and here we go.
And the penalty, as you said, for a first offense is now 80 games. It used to be 50 games.
It used to be 50.
It's not only 80, it's 80 plus the postseason in that season. So if the Marlins or Blue Jays make the playoffs, Gordon and Colabello would not be eligible to play in the playoffs this year. The batter, Brock Holt, 6-6 tie in the bottom of the 7th. Buster, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think Booney touched on a common misconception that the players are fighting this testing. They are driving this conversation because they don't want to go back to where players were in the 90s, having to make that choice to use to keep up with other players or not use and fall behind professionally, which is why there is such frustration in the aftermath of the D. Gordon suspension. Players I talked with said, look, we have to find some way to reduce the incentive to cheat.
So would you do that by testing more, by making the penalties more severe? If you were a player rep, Aaron, as you were for part of your career, and you're sitting in a room with 29 other player reps, what suggestion would you make?
Well, Buster put out an interesting suggestion today, and that's a 2-tiered plan to where okay, if you test positive, you get your 80 games like it is now. But then it goes to another level, almost like a court case.
Right.
And if it proves that you were a guy that was definitely trying to cheat and beat the system, then the penalty gets even more severe. Buster, you talked about that a little bit today. Can you expand on it?
Yeah, and after I wrote that today, I heard from some players. In fact, Justin Verlander reached out to me and he said, I love it. He said, that's what I'm talking about, is trying to get the guys who are trying to beat the system and really punishing them with a heavy penalty.
But then there's a burden of proof, I would assume. It's not always going to be an easy thing to prove whether a guy purposely did it or whether a guy says, hey, it was an accident. I guess if they could point, like you were saying, if a player could say, this is what I took, this is what put it in my system, and I didn't know that was in there, or I didn't know that was on the list. But again, there's a burden of proof. There's a lot of gray area there, don't you think? I love the idea by Buster, but there's a chopper to third. Headley a little trouble getting it out of his glove, and as a result, they'll only get one.
I think the biggest thing is instilling fear. And I just feel like players don't necessarily have the fear. If they're, you look at Deke Gordon and the contract that he was able to get. And
I think they do. I think we got to be careful to not say it hasn't been a deterrent, because the game is vastly different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. But you're right, not probably enough a deterrent, because there is a population who's still willing to roll the dice.
A pitching change here at Fenway as Dellin Betances makes his way in a tie game here in the 7th. Streaming sports service delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. All right, here we go. Dellin Betances is into the game. Last time that he was seen in this ballpark was Friday night. Gave up a home run to David Ortiz. Comes on in a tie game here to face Christian Vasquez, runner at first, 2 down. Day off for the Yankees tomorrow. They've lost 4 in a row. Runner goes on the first pitch, and it's swung on and hit a mile to left field. Christian Vasquez rocks Dellin Betances with a first pitch home run, and the Red Sox are back on top.
Well, Dan, you talked about Dellin Betances coming into this game with the off day tomorrow, and this game so important early in the season for the New York Yankees to try and stop the bleeding. And again, on a first pitch, this time Christian Vasquez on a fastball right down the middle hits a no-doubter to left.
And that's where I feel like preparation meets opportunity.
Yep.
It was obvious that Vasquez knew exactly what he was going to get. was prepared for it. That's 97.
Now a drive off the bat of Bradley to center field, deep but playable. And that is going to end the inning, but not before Christian Vasquez takes Dellin Betances deep, and I mean deep to left. 8-6 Boston. Presented by the Beefy Crunch and Cheesy Double Beef Burritos. You asked for them, Taco Bell brought them back for just $1. And in part by Napoleon Grills. Own the best. Red Sox are fired up. Christian Vasquez with a 2-run homer way over the monster. And it's an 8-6 Boston lead now going to the 8th inning. Second home run given up this series by Dellin Betances. Third home run he's given up this week. And now out of the Boston bullpen comes right-hander Koji Uehara. Uehara, formerly the closer for the Red Sox, now working as the setup man because of the acquisition of Craig Kimbrell. And he misses down an in-ball one to Mark Teixeira. Uehara threw a perfect 8th inning, struck out a batter Friday night against the Yankees and picked up the win. David Price would pick up the win if things hold here in this game, in spite of giving up 6 runs in 7 innings. Thanks to the home run by Vasquez, who, as John Farrell, worth mentioning again, told us before the game, you know, he's not an automatic out. And he just showed that to Dellin Betances, who was just shaking his head.
There was a year in the minor leagues he actually hit 18 homers. One of his biggest issues when he started professionally was that, in his word, he was fat. He weighed 210 pounds. And then he started to take nutrition seriously, really developed as a player.
Teixeira strikes out. The batter now, Starlin Castro. Picked up from the Cubs in the offseason. Adam Warren going the other way. The Yankees making Castro their everyday second baseman. He moved from short to second midway through last year when Addison Russell moved to short. Castro over 1,000 hits in his career. And off to a good start as a Yankee.
And part of the Yankees, you know, they didn't spend a lot, obviously, or they spent nothing in free agency. They've been reluctant to give away some of their younger players. They've tried to slowly but surely get a little more younger, hoping Castro and Gregorius could be the answer up the middle.
Red Sox fans giving it to the Yankees right now. If the Yankees lose this game, it'll be 5 in a row. They'll drop to 8-15. We mentioned off the top of the show, this is the worst start to a season for the Yankees since 1991. And if you're Joe Girardi, the guys you got are the guys you got. As Castro lines one into the left field corner, his second hit of the night. On his way to second and just safe ahead of the throw from Holt.
Castro, he's been the hottest hitter for this Yankees team, and big reason why he's able to really see the spin on this pitch, get through this, drive it down the line, but watch him get going into second. And Pedroia almost does a bit of a deke to try to get him to kind of calmly. He smiles thinking he almost had him.
So a double for Castro. And the tying run will come to the plate here with one out in the top of the 8th inning. Uehara is going to face Chase Headley. Headley 1 for 3 tonight. Still looking for that first extra base hit of the season. Headley 2 for 4 with a home run in his career against Uehara. This is his first at bat of the night from the left side, and from the right side against the left-hander David Price. And the pitch in the dirt, blocked by Vasquez to keep Castro at second. Shift is on, but Shaw can't stray too far from third base, or Castro will just jog over there.
Brian McCann has moved into the on-deck circle to hit.
Aaron Hicks, the scheduled hitter. Beltran's on the bench as well as that pitch is fouled back.
That right there is what Koji Uehara does so well. You'll routinely see him 86, 87. Sometimes creep up in the upper 80s with that fastball, but just has great life in the zone. And he just mixes it evenly with the outstanding split-fingered fastball and has a knack as good as anyone at getting the hitter to sit on the wrong pitch.
Fastball up and in is fouled back, 1-2.
It's amazing how late hitters can look at 86, 87 because the split is at 77, 78, low in the zone.
Now back-to-back fastballs there at the top of the strike zone in. You think, man, as a hitter, you're like, now he's probably coming with that split. Do you want to sell out on it? You just never know. I mean, he does such a good job of having a feel for what the hitter is looking for. And with another pitch, maybe he goes even higher, wastes one up in the zone.
Split in the dirt, 2-2.
That's 2 times now Vasquez has gotten in the dirt and just smothered those balls. Remember, we're still in the 8th inning. Getting to third right now for the Yankees with 1 out would be a huge deal to try and just cut into that lead a little bit more. Just the textbook work there by Vasquez, keeping it in front of and keeping it close, so no chance for Castro.
Two. Bounced foul. Uehara in his 4th year as a member of the Red Sox. His first year, 2013, and he had an ERA of 1.09. Saved 72 games the last 3 years for Boston, but with Craig Kimbrell coming over, moves into the setup role. Uehara is 41 years of age. Still getting it done. That is a fair ball. Ramirez will win the race to the bag for the second out. Castro to third.
Well, the Red Sox at first base, Hanley Ramirez guarding the line as the tying run at the plate. You don't want him to allow him into scoring position, but a good job of using his feet to create a hop. He gives ground on that ball so he can get the long hop, makes it an easier play, and then wins the foot race to the bag. Big second out for Uehara and the Red Sox.
And now Brian McCann will come off the bench to hit for Aaron Hicks. 3 home runs so far this season. Beltran into the on-deck circle for Torres. Should it get that far. McCann, a very steady, consistent hitter over the years. His home runs, if you go back year by year, 26, 23, 20, 20, 24, 21, and so on and so on. He's been an awfully good player for a long time. Broke in with Atlanta back in 2005. This is his 3rd year as a Yankee. Pretty good company right there. You think there'd be more guys on that list?
The consistency.
Yep. Got under it and pops it out of play. I think another reason why Joe Girardi doesn't like to shift is because teams shift against the Yankees more than any other team, and the reason they do that, they've got a lot of older players, pull hitters, guys who don't run very well, and those are the kinds of guys who generally get shifted again.
Well, think about Mark Teixeira too, who basically came in on the heels of Jason Giambi, and that was still shifts weren't real popular, and you signed him to a huge deal, and he's been one of those guys that the shift has really affected. And as you say, it affects the Yankee team perhaps as much as anyone in baseball.
That's how they've won all these championships through the years, building teams with big left-handed sluggers, and right now seeing a lot of shifts because of it.
1-2 the count, and the pitch up and away. 2-2. Since 2013, I mean, it's not even close. Teams have shifted against the Yankees almost 800 times more than the next team that has faced it the most often, the Seattle Mariners. This ball's going to hit the shin guard Vasquez and bounce away, and a wild pitch will allow the Yankees to close within a run.
Well, it looks like this ball, instead of bouncing up, it looks like maybe it hits the corner of the plate and just kind of darts and just shoots low and right through the wickets of Christian Vasquez, who doesn't get the glove down in time. Watch this ball kind of skip instead of bounce up. Kind of hits that dead spot in front of the plate and stays down, and Vasquez anticipated it bouncing up. It shoots through his legs, and
blaming the ball, taking it out on the ball anyways, and there is ball 4 high. The tying run is aboard with 2 down here in the 8th inning, and that will bring Carlos Beltran to the plate. Red Sox fans aren't having quite as much fun as they were a half inning ago when Vasquez hit that home run. Beltran still dangerous. 1 for 6 in his career against Uehara.
This Yankee team right now, McCann having a great at bat, just patiently waiting for a specific part of the zone, laying off a lot of these pitches that are just missing for Uehara.
Swing and a miss. Another pinch hitter's on deck. Didi Gregorius would bat for Austin Romine. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Exactly how you said it, Booney. I'm thinking all the way he's going to come back with the fastball, because the split fastball is what he threw to Beltran, swung through it. No, he comes right back with the same pitch, same location, right at knee level, just drops.
Got him with a fastball to end the inning. The Yankees, though, do get a run. And it's a one-run game going to the bottom of the eighth. Uehara gives up one, but then minimizes the damage. 8-7 Red Sox. Carlos Beltran will stay in the game in right field. Didi Gregorius comes in to play shortstop after Torreyes was lifted for a pinch hitter. Brian McCann will stay in the game and catch after pinch hitting. And the new pitcher for the Yankees is Andrew Miller, who has been sensational so far this year. Virtually unhittable so far this year.
Can you have a better month than that as a reliever?
He has made 9 appearances covering 9 innings. 9 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 15 strikeouts. That's what he's done. Basically, he did what Clayton Kershaw did today. The only difference is Kershaw struck out 14. Miller's done it over 9 appearances against a variety of teams, obviously. Betances scuffling right now, gave up another home run tonight. The Yankees will get Aroldis Chapman back 1 week from tomorrow, May the 9th. So they'll have a phenomenal back end of the bullpen. You got to figure Betances will get it figured out. But can they supply enough leads to those 3 arms to win a lot of games?
Well, if nothing else, no matter what happens tonight, at least you busted out a little bit offensively. And up and down the lineup, you had some better at bats. That is something you could at least take into this coming week, because formula doesn't work if you can't get it to this dynamic back end of the bullpen for the New York Yankees.
Offense hasn't been good. Starting pitching spotty. Some guys good, some guys not so much. Big stretch by Teixeira. And Betts is retired. Meanwhile, the Yankees know what they're getting in the top of the 9th. They're getting a whole lot of 99 and maybe a couple of 100s. And scheduled, it'll be Gregorius, Ellsbury, and Gardner. A-Rod would be due up 4th. Craig Kimbrell getting loose. Here's Dustin Pedroia, 3 for 3, or 3 for 4 rather. Retired on a fly ball his last time up. One of the other great things about Miller, not only what he does on the mound, but if he's the 9th inning guy, the 8th inning guy, the 7th inning guy, he truly doesn't care. I mean, he says all the right things, but you can tell he means it when he says it. Whatever helps the team win games is all that he's interested in.
Yeah, especially how well he's thrown. I mean, no doubt about it. He's earned to stay in the closer role, but he accepts the fact that he'll probably be the 8th inning guy when Chapman returns in 8 days. The egolessness and Dylan Betances as well. I mean, this, you have to be egoless to take that role.
Fly ball to right. 2 down.
But you know what else it does is it doesn't even necessarily push him to this 8th inning. Now all of a sudden, if you put Chapman in the 9th, now you can say, where do I want to use Miller? Where do I want to use Betances? What makes the most sense? Some nights it might be the 7th for Betances and vice versa. That's the beauty of having a guy that truly doesn't care, and it makes it better for Joe Girardi. It gives him a more viable weapon at different points in the game.
But can the starters pitch well enough? Can the offense hit well enough for any of it to matter? Yankees in jeopardy of dropping to 8-15. Xander Bogaerts 2 for 4. And a fly ball hit high down the left field line, off the monster. Bogaerts with his 3rd hit of the night, and this one is a double.
This is one you'll probably see Xander Bogaerts smile a lot at second base. He probably did not want to swing at this, but he started, and this slider just keeps boring to his back leg, and somehow he's able to get the barrel, and somehow he's able to keep it fair. I think if you asked him after the game how he did that, he'd say, I have zero idea. I have no idea how it kept fair, but I'm just happy to be standing on second base off of Andrew Miller, where I almost fell down trying to hit this pitch.
His back leg. He just lost his back leg.
Now Miller facing Ortiz. What a matchup this is as Miller starts him with a strike. Ortiz is 1 for 5 in his career against Miller. Ortiz will stand in there against a lefty with the best of them, but boy, when you're 6'7" and throwing that slider that he's got, or the fastball down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. (8-7) Red Sox, bottom of the 8th, looking for the sweep. Looking for some insurance here. Fastball in. Nathan Eovaldi went 5+ innings, 5 innings plus a batter for the Yankees, gave up 6 earned runs on 10 hits. David Price went 7 innings for the Red Sox, also gave up 6 earned runs on 8 hits, but he's in line for a win if Kimbrell does his thing in the 9th. Ortiz trying to give Kimbrell a little bit more breathing room heading to the 9th. Two. Got him. Nasty slider. Miller strikes him out and the inning is over. We are going to the 9th here at Fenway. Craig Kimbrell coming on to try to protect a 1-run lead. Sports Center at night. Coming up, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green step up in Steph Curry's absence. Plus Curry on when he could be back on the court, and a look back at Sunday Night Baseball 5 years ago tonight, when what happened on the field took a backseat to what happened in the world. Sports Center is next with John Anderson and John Buchacross. We go to the 9th inning, and here's Craig Kimbrell to face Didi Gregorius, Jacoby Ellsbury, Brett Gardner, and if anybody reaches, Alex Rodriguez, who's had a big night. 8-7, the Red Sox lead. Gregorius shows bunt and takes a strike, or hears a strike. Kimbrell with 7 saves on the season. Has been nicked a couple of times so far this year. Called strike 2.
Yeah, there's been a couple of outings where he's struggled a little bit with his command. He's already given up a couple home runs, but has really started to dial it back in. First 2 pitches here, fastball at 97. There you see the breaking ball hard at 87.
3 pitches, 1 down.
You look at the way that Craig Kimbrell has set up his unique delivery, and then of course how high he can get his fastball up in the zone and the location after just using his breaking ball. Very efficient 1-2-3 to Didi Gregorius, but look at the location past the bat of Didi.
Kimbrell threw a perfect 9th inning on Friday night, picking up the save. Strikes out Gregorius here to begin the 9th tonight. Now faces Ellsbury with Gardner waiting on deck. 8-7 Red Sox lead. And a high fly ball to left center field. It is playable for Holt. 2 down. Cubs and Pirates coming your way tomorrow. Yankees an out away, guys, from losing their 5th in a row. 13 out of 17, dropping 7 games below 500.
They saw their offense come a little bit more to life. You can highlight the fact that Ellsbury, Alex Rodriguez, 2 bats they have to have moving forward. Yes, it is a loss, but if they can continue this, that's what they need. It is this offense that the Yankees need moving forward.
And conversely for the Red Sox right now, playing with a ton of confidence, seemingly more help on the way with Carson Smith due back this week to help what's been a good bullpen. Eduardo Rodriguez looming.
The batter is Gardner, and a strike.
All the young players for the Red Sox continue to seemingly come of age. All the question marks surrounding the Red Sox coming out of spring training, they're getting real good answers right now.
Breaking ball in the dirt, a ball and a strike on Gardner. Alex Rodriguez on deck should the ball game continue. Kimbrell looking for save number 8. A-Rod a 2-run homer and a 2-run double tonight. A back and forth affair as they traded the lead a couple of times in the middle innings. The Red Sox up a run with 2 outs in the 9th. Strike 2.
I mean, if you can't feel the heat on that fastball just from the swing of Gardner alone.
They say a fastball doesn't rise. That looks like the closest thing to it.
Check the swing. The appeal down to third confirms that. 2-2.
Well, the way the inning's going, that waist breaking ball, you almost know what you're getting, right? He's coming back to that fastball. It's been his best pitch this inning. He's commanded it. He's thrown it where he's won. I think if you're Gardner here, forget 2 strikes. You sell out on this heater right now. Get it started and try and drive one.
Two. Missed high with a breaking ball.
Kimbrell shook, which as the hitter changes your approach a little, because you know it's one of those situations where you know the way this inning's going, the way the at bat, that catcher's putting down heater, and you saw Kimbrell shake, and that's the only thing that makes you change your mind.
But now he's got to think fastball,
get the heater, right?
Yeah. A-Rod on deck. Full count pitch upcoming to Brett Gardner. Got it. Ball game. Red Sox sweep the Yankees. Boston goes to 15-10, a half game up on Baltimore. The Yankees have lost 5 in a row. They fall deeper into the cellar of the division. It's really early, but they are 8-15. The Red Sox win 8-7. Price gets the win. Nova the loss. Kimbrell the save on a chilly, drizzly night here at Fenway. For Aaron Boone, Jessica Mendoza, Buster Olney, and our crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying so long from Fenway Park. SportsCenter is next.